Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright. 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 Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright.
Welcome to another edition of Hope Academy. Today is going to be another fire class. I hope y'all locked in. We got a lot of content to discuss. We're going to go deep, a couple little surprises. Stay on your toes. We got a lot to cover. So I'm excited too because there's some familiar faces that's in the crowd today that I haven't seen in a minute. So always good. Bringing that good energy in the building. So let's get started. So start with the first slide. So we start with that recap. If you were tuned in and tapped in last week, here are three of the majors that we talked about last week. One, there's always more. There's always more. Can anybody give me some insight on what they think that means or what that means? There's always more. Shakina.
There's not really an arrival point. There's always the next level. There's always somebody doing it better, doing it differently. You should stay in a studious space because you're not going to arrive anywhere.
Correct. Now, this is horrible. This is horrible to any of you who like awards, who like to be patted on the back and told good job, which is a lot of us. But this mentality is it's like the downhill part of a roller coaster for a lot of people because you just can't grab on anything, you can't touch anything. And for you to adopt that mentality, like there's always more, that means you're not even giving yourself a lot of time to say, that was tight. That was dope. Good job. Because a lot of times it gets polarized. Either somebody's always over celebrating everything or you're not celebrating at all. So the sweet spot is you acknowledge your milestones and then you move on because there's always more. So you pause to acknowledge your milestones, good job, and you move on because there's always more. Here's another thing. Better, good, great, perfect, dope, it's all relative. It's all relative. So how do you know if your good is good enough? The only way you know your good is good enough is if it's effective, if it worked, right? If it worked, it's good enough because it worked. But if you're in states in your life, in business, and any other pillars that we talk about, and it doesn't work, that means there's more. We be quick to be like, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. You ever call out to God? You ever do that to God? God, I'm doing my best. Because you're saying, I ain't got no more. Okay, well, I'm gonna bring it down for you. I'm gonna make it easier for you so you can get it. Here you go. Does that happen? How often does that happen? Fucking never. You just don't get it.
It usually gets harder.
You just don't get it. You know why? Because there's always more. And either you get stronger or you don't get it. Pick one. You get better or you don't get it.
It's kind of like that saying where they say, step up or shut up.
It's a cold like there's a saying that says a universe isn't good or bad, it's indifferent. And another word for that in our classes, it means it don't give a fuck about your feelings. It don't. So, we're in an entrepreneur class, right? We have these big dreams, these big goals. We want to be, does anybody want to be thousandaires? Raise your hand if you want to be a 4-digit person, right? No? What about 5 digits? 5 digits. Anybody that got 5 digits on their heart, mind, and soul they doing all this for? 5 digits? No? She said hell to the no. Okay, how about 6 digits? 6 digit? People, you build your brand, get up there in them 6 digits and you good? Still nobody? No 6 digit folks in the room? What about you at home? No 6 digits? Oh, what about 7 digits? Anybody, any 7 digits? Okay, now we got hands at the 7 digits. Right? Any 8 digit folks? Any 9 digit folks? What about 10 digit folks? So hands go up past 7 digits, right? So if you want more money, more is required of you. And if you don't have, you are at the level where you are right now. Your money, your finances, everything you got right now is a result of where you are. It's preposterous to think that you can get more without having to exert more. Sure.
Okay, so I don't know if this is me playing small or just like not wanting to set myself up for failure. So like I'm in the 6 digits right now and it's bullshit. Like it's cool for where I'm at and I can respect the process and the journey because I know that I can't go from A to Z. But then when you said 7, I'm like, yeah, cool, I ain't in 7 yet. But then there's another part of me that's like, dream bigger because 7 is probably still easy. So why are you not raising your hand for 8 and for 9? What is that thought process and transition look like for an entrepreneur? Because like, shoot, 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I want to make 5 or 6, like when I wasn't. But like, how do you set your sights on like what you want your growth to look like realistically?
Well, every entrepreneur is different, right? Every entrepreneur is different. So it depends on the type of human you are, right? Some humans need big, nasty goals. And that's good enough for them to keep going and going and going and going until they get there or get close. Some people need 20 feet goals in front of them. And to entrepreneur number 1, that super long, crazy goal is too much because it takes too much time for them to hit that milestone. But for the other entrepreneur, they still maybe want 9 digits, 8 digits, whatever, but they move differently. I'm going after the next 20 feet in front of me, and that's where my focus is right now. And once I hit that, I can always set new goals. It ain't like you got one wish. This ain't a cartoon, right? You got one wish and that's it. All your wishes go away. So if you don't say 9, you're just gonna get 7 and be stuck with it. Nah, this is what I want. If I'm at 6 digits now, I want to scale to 7. And once I get there, all right, now I'm here. What does the next step of that look like? You know what I mean? So it depends on who you are. Some is a combination of both. I got this big nasty goal at the end, and I got these milestones I want to hit. It all depends on you. But the point is, wherever you are right now, that shit ain't good enough. And it's okay. And it's all right. Because it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means it ain't good enough. So I tell this analogy too sometimes. It's like when people talk to me about that, about failure. And so I say, what if that's the mentality you took when it was time for you to learn how to walk as a baby? What if you thought like you think right now, but you were a baby trying to get to crawling to walking? Your ass will still be crawling right now. It's just so I keep falling. I'm doing my best. I'm not strong enough. My legs aren't strong enough. How did you walk? Because you weren't thinking. You just kept trying. How do you get better? There's no words for getting better at just shit. Like there's no definition of getting better. It's you get up and keep trying. And every time you try, you're going to make one little distinction. And now that distinction just compounded into your system. You don't even realize you forgot about it. And you try again, and kinesthetically is how you get better. It's not a recipe I can give you of how you get better at your thing. How do you do more at your thing? You just do it again, but you're observant and you go hard and you learn from your mistake. Some things are so complex. Oh my God, and we take it for granted. Like you take basketball. Like everybody plays basketball. You've seen it on TV 1,000 times, but there are so many complex kinesthetic elements to basketball that if you don't realize or understand or even appreciate unless you played. And if you played, you see the game completely different than everybody else. You cheer at a dunk. Oh, they dunked. Yeah, that's great. But if you watch the way they move the ball and the way they move without the ball, in the way no one bumps their heads on the backboards, no one breaks their fingers on the rims, no one bumps their head on the rim. Very few ankle sprains in an NBA game. Like just normal things, because they've played for so many years that they've compounded micro movements to perfection. How do they do it? There's no script for the shit. You just keep trying. You just keep trying. Oh, I just learned something new. If you're a painter, how do you become masterful at painting? You start off with the plastic on the ground. You're safe. You tape everything in the little blue tape, because you're being careful and you're following the rules. 15 years from now, I've watched people do it with no tape and nothing on the ground. How? Because over time, you compound movement so many times that your body is in sync with what you're doing, and you're just better. Just better. You got to be listening, though. You can't be like, I'm doing my best. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. Get better. How do you get better? Do it again. Pay attention. How do you make money at an event? Come up with a better strategy and try it again. Lose a little bit less. Lose a little bit less. Lose a little bit less. Break even. Make $1. Make $2. Make $4. Make $8. Make $16. 10 years from now, when you're making $20,000 an event or whatever, they're gonna be like, Kaja, how did sit on this panel and tell us how it happened? There's no menu. You're gonna say, I just kept doing it. I kept doing it and kept getting better. We closed out ego as the enemy. There's a reason why it took us we took 8 months on it. There's a reason. To me, this is one of our biggest killers of entrepreneurial freedom. One of our biggest killers is our ego. Biggest killers. So we wanted to take our time with this. Ego as the enemy is not a suggestion for y'all to become better and more successful as an entrepreneur. Ego as the enemy is a necessity, is a must. We always got to be checking our ego. If you ain't checkable, meaning if there's nobody that could check you and you be like, you know what, let me go think about that. Oh man, you know what, that's right. Then you're stuck right now where you are. Ain't gonna be no 7 digits. Ain't gonna be no 6 digits. Ain't none of, kiss all that shit goodbye. Real talk. Unless you have those digits now, if you ain't checkable, meaning if you can't upgrade your software at any moment in time to be like, oh shit, that's a good point. Let me try that. Let me learn that. Okay. You know what? Let me think about that. You're right. It don't feel good you telling me it right now, but I know I'm not where I want to be. So let me look at it. Let me observe it. Or just let me try it. So if need be, have that book next to you. Have that book next to you. If you start feeling yourself in any way, or you start feeling like you don't need to listen to nobody, run through that book again. Run through it again. Third, trust in God, tie your camels. So that means you got to give your all, 110% of yourself in what you're doing. You got to immerse yourself into it. I like how Conor McGregor said it. He says, I lost myself in this. It's an obsession. So there's no question about how much or how hard of an effort you're going to give this thing. You're not leaving it up to the scorecard. You're giving it all you got. And then you use whatever spiritual foundation you have or whatever belief you have, you couple that with you going 100%. That's the winning formula. Because sitting back and just praying and not doing nothing, the reason why I brought it up, because it's like 3 people talked about that shit. And I'm like, look, this is not how the game works. This ain't how the game works. Not in entrepreneurship. Not in entrepreneurship, because there's too many moving parts. There's too much strategy. It's too long of a time frame that has to be processed through. There's interaction after interaction that's years upon years. So you have to have the strategy. You have to have the system in place. And that's not a luck system. That's some lazy ass. That's lazy. So do both. Do both. Any questions on that? Any questions on the ego as an enemy? I know we beat it up. Okay, here we go with the pause. Stop with the pause shit. Come on now. Man, wow. Here we go. Next slide. Growth 101. So, to get to those digits, right? To get to those next digits, you got to grow, right? You got to grow. If you want to grow your business, there's elements to it. Nana's teaching you scaling, high level scaling. These are high level. You know me, I stick with the basics of the how. It's the process. And another thing is this, what I'm learning, not just here, but even in my own team, is a lot of times how you get things is coming at it from different angles. So if I say something from this side, Nana says it from this side, I come back on the other side, and we just keep hitting the same topic from different angles. Sometimes that allows your brain to really wrap around and understand how it works, to where you use it. You implement it, you execute it, and you have more context around it. So we're going to talk about it. Let's go. Next slide. So, stress plus nutrients equals growth. Stress plus nutrients equals growth. So you guys want to know how to grow? This is the equation. Write this down. Stress plus nutrients equals growth. Like, tell me something more advanced. Give me something more. No, I'm going to give you the yellow bus version that I know, because this is the version that helped me. Stress plus nutrients equals growth. In everything. in everything. What does that mean? Next slide. So, first off, understand this. Stress alone equals death. Stress alone equals death. So, just like water, H2O, you need hydrogen and you need oxygen. Together makes water. But hydrogen alone could blow up a whole country. So it's the two elements by themselves are dangerous. But together, and you notice the two in H2O. It's also an amount. So you need double the amount for that equation to work. Same with what we're talking about. Next slide. Go ahead.
In an early version of a scientific study, scientist Joseph Brady placed monkeys in restraining chairs and conditioned them to press a lever. They were given electric shocks every 20 seconds unless they pressed the lever during the same time period. This study came to an abrupt halt when many of the monkeys died from perforated ulcers.
So this scientist was doing an early study on stress and how stress affects humans. So he tested them on monkeys. And this is before PETA and all those things where you couldn't do that. And he gave them electric shocks every time they got the answer wrong. Those monkeys didn't even make it. They died. Not of electrocution, but of ulcers. So part of this is also saying stress is related to a lot of deaths, not just directly related to the impact, but you get all kind of sorts of diseases that can happen to you from stress. Did you know that? Stress alone, cancers and ulcers, and all our holistic people know that shit. But stress alone that's why I say stress alone equals death. So understand, and this study is just one of many, many studies that they've done. So if any of us have grew up in stressful environments, the hood, crack era, violence, shooting, just anywhere where it was constant tension, lots of trauma, lots of pain, lots of drama at all times in a high stress environment, understand that's never high stress continuously leads to death. Understand that. Next slide. Nutrients alone equal death. You would think nutrients, that's good for you, right? Nutrients are good for you. Water is good for you. When you say nutrients, that's vitamins and minerals and all the things. Next slide.
For example, a plant needs the sun, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, macro and micros, water and darkness, rest, and a daily dance with tension to grow.
Okay. So if it's nutrients alone, logically you think, if they say take a vitamin a day, what if I took 10 vitamins a day? They say drink a gallon of water a day. What if I drank 3 gallons? You could die. You could die. If the instructions say to give them these type of nutrients, What if I doubled it or tripled it? Let's go to the next slide. Oh, wait. I think these are out of order. Wait, go one more. Oh, we missing a slide. Go back a couple. All right, let's just stay here. So there was a slide in there that talks about what happens if nutrients only, if you just overdo it with nutrients. So if we stay with the plant scenario, if I recall my memory, too much nutrients burns the plant, burns the hell out of the plant. Too much nutrients. And it goes into what's called a nutrient lock. So now the plant goes into shock because it's over nutrient, and it locks up like I can't handle anymore. Now, next thing, you water it too much, overwater it. Plants start turning yellow. They start collapsing because they're about to die. You're watering them to death. Yes, I grew weed, Charlize. Stop looking at me like that. So if you think with your logic mind how the world works, you'll end up with dead plants or dead anything or impotent everything. If you grew up, if any of you grew up, well, not any of you grew up. That's why parents who grow up wealthy parents have a tough time raising children. First time millionaires, 6-digit folks who have children have a tough time. If you don't consciously understand that stress plus nutrients equals growth. Because if we as parents want to give our kids everything we didn't have as a child, we want to give them everything we missed out on, then what we can end up doing is nutrients only. And when they lock up or when they get lazy, it's because nutrients only, no stress. It's a simple equation. It's a simple equation. I'm speaking back from experience. I have 2 boys and a daughter. My first son, I had him when I was 20. I come from the dirt, okay? So when I had my son, it's Jordan's city. He was born in Jordan's. Soon as I slid him on the way home from the hospital. Every Jordan that came out, he had it. We both had it together. I spoiled the shit out of him. Unknowingly. I'm thinking I'm being a great dad. Providing. And you fly like... Then when he started getting 5th, 6th, 7th grade, best dressed at school, then guess what? I remember one year, the year of my crash, right? We had Big 5. Now, y'all all know, ain't no dope ass shoes at Big 5. So I said, hey, whatever's up in here, go ahead. He looked around. He didn't even walk over there. He did a quick scan and was like, ain't no Jordans here. I said, I know, son, I know. Just, you need new shoes for school, so just get what's here. He was like, I'd rather keep what I got on, and walked out the store. And I'm like, you motherfucker. But then I realized he's right. I've spoiled the shit. He never had to work for nothing. And when school got hard, I just chill. I'm just chilling. Nutrients plus stress. My first company, YPA, is growing. CBS Evening Magazine comes and they come to do a story on my first company. And so I have my son with me. He's holding my hand. And so we put on an event at Cal State Hayward. It was a street ball event. So they interview me and then they go down to my son and they say, isn't it great what your dad's doing? And they give him the mic and he says, no. And this motherfucker asked, well, why not? Because he's never home. He works too much. It's too hard. I'm like, thanks, person. It's because I never had him with me. I never worked with, it was just, he had it easy. I want to give him everything. And I'm not saying, like, a lot of times you can't take on that as the reason why kids don't do, because he's doing good. But I'm saying stress plus nutrients equals growth. Nutrients alone, you run a high risk of having those plants go limp and turn yellow. And it's true in plants, it's true in animals, and it's true in humans. If, like I say this every year, you walk past if you walk past the cocoon and you see the struggle, you see it struggling, and you say, oh man, it's struggling, let me help it get out, and you cut that cocoon open, that butterfly will never fly. You know why? Because the struggle strengthens the wings and prepares it for flight. It makes the wings stronger while it's struggling. And once you rip that open, you take away its struggle forever. You take away the stress. It had its nutrients in its cocoon, but you took away the stress. So now it's walking around for the rest of its life, unable to fly. Stress plus nutrients equals growth.
From a business perspective, it makes me think about the climate that we're in right now, where there's so many entrepreneurs and businesses that are just getting all this pity money. And it's like, because they didn't go through like the grit and the hustle of like building something and like having to show proof of concept and struggling through that startup phase and like proving their company worthy, they're getting thrown all these nutrients, all this money, all this validation, and then it's like, and then they're crashing and burning because they didn't go through that struggle process. So from an entrepreneur's perspective, that's like where my brain goes with that. It's just like, even though a lot of us are becoming reliant on being over nutrient boost, reliant on all that validation and titles and stuff, and then it's like, yeah, but it's killing us in the end because we don't know how to sustain it or even what to do with it once all that shit dries up, because it's going to.
Hype cycles. Yeah, so like, that's why it's so valuable. Hype cycles is such a valuable piece of information for an entrepreneur. If it's hitting, instead of be like, I'm hitting, this is it, I'm blowing up. Entrepreneur says, I might be in a hype cycle. Let me observe this. Let me not spend. Let me pay off bills. Let me save. Let me prepare myself, create some redundancy, because I don't know, this has never happened to me before. So let me be observant. Our nature is like, this is the natural state is that it's never going to end. It's never going to end. This is forever. And guess what? When that water gets cut off, then what ends up happening is you'll just continue chasing. You'll continue chasing. Your full-time job will be chasing that hype cycle instead of building your business. Let's go next slide.
The best combination for optimal growth is stress from the sun, which allows the roots to go deeper, searching for water and nutrients.
Okay, hold on. So let's start with the first stress. Stress from the sun. Stress from the sun. So a plant gets sunlight. Of course, there's photosynthesis and all those things that happen that make it green. But one of the things that happen is it stresses the plant out. It feels the heat. So when it feels the heat, two things happen. The leaves get stronger because it puts more resources on the tops of the leaves where the sun hits it to protect it, to make it stronger. Second thing that happens is that it needs water, or it'll die of dryness. So it sends its roots down to search for water. Go. Sends the roots searching for water. And now as the roots are searching for water, right when it gets to a point, oh, let's finish that off.
In the moment of heightened stress, feed them everything they need to grow strong. Then let them rest in darkness.
Okay, right when it's stressed out to the max, and it's like, oh man, I might die. I extended all my resources out to look for water, and I couldn't find any. Boom, you feed them. Oh man. And now you have plants with longer, stronger, bigger roots. Now it can absorb all those nutrients to make the tree, the plant, bigger. And then you let it rest in darkness. And then the next day, you do it over again. That is a healthy entrepreneur. It's a healthy plant. It's a healthy person. We have to create environments for ourselves, for our kids, that have healthy amounts of good stress that helps them to grow. Doesn't confine, we don't over baby them. And same with our business. Next slide.
Like plants, we cannot expect to grow beyond our current life without good stress. We have to factor it in our lives.
So, we have to calculate good stress in our life as entrepreneurs. You want to grow? I've seen the 7, 8s, and 9s. You got to calculate good stress in your life. If you're not proactive about your stress, then it's going to be reactive to you. So we preach the shit, same old shit. What do we preach? Any ideas of what we preach? Good stress? Anybody?
Working out.
Working out. Oh,
Doing
here we go
numbers.
again with this workout bullshit.
Watch food.
Right?
Meditate. Quiet time.
Journal.
Study.
Journal. Coming to class.
Consistency.
Practice. And here's consistency, patience, emotional agility, good stress. But here's another one. You have a comfort zone right now. You have a comfort zone. You are currently in the center of your comfort zone. So you live and you operate inside that comfort zone. Some foods you don't eat, things you don't try, customers you don't talk to, people you don't, and none of it's gonna kill you. But what it is outside your comfort zone. But the interesting thing about comfort zones is that once you step outside your comfort zone to try something that makes you uncomfortable, your whole comfort zone expands and it affects other things in your life. So if you, like me, and don't like talking to strangers, I don't like talking to new people. That ain't my shit. My thing is I got my friends and I'm introverted like that. So I don't really I'm not that guy. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Where you from? That's not me. I go to sleep. If I'm on an airplane, I go to sleep. I don't give a fuck who is next to me. I go to sleep, wake up, do my destination. If I'm in the gym, I'm not talking to nobody. It's my get down. But guess what? That's in my comfort zone. If I want to be a better entrepreneur, if I want to be a better salesperson, and if I want to overall improve, that's something that I got to overcome. So you know what I do sometimes? I force myself to do it. Just one small little thing. And guess what? It affects other things. When I'm put on the spot, awkward silences, awkward situations, because I try to practice it. I hate it, but I practice it because it's outside of my comfort zone. It's good stress because guess what? I get nervous. I don't want to get nervous. There's a little old lady sitting next to me. I just don't want to talk to her, but we gonna talk today. Hi, lady. Hi, lady.
Hi, lady.
And you know what? I've had some impactful things happen in my business because of it. You never know who you're gonna meet and who they know and what they do.
So my favorite practice of that is just the grocery store line. Just talking to random people in the grocery store line.
Scott says he talks to random people in the grocery store line. If that is uncomfortable for you to do and you're stepping outside of yourself to do it, it's good stress. If you hate going to the gym and you go, that's good stress. If you go to the gym but you don't push yourself and now you start to push yourself to exhaustion, that's good stress. If in conversations you run from a conversation when it gets tense, instead of sticking in there, staying in there, and now you're changing that and you're going to stay here and we're going to talk it through, that's good stress. That's good stress. If you don't like looking at your numbers because you think, oh man, if I look at my numbers, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. But now you starting to look at your numbers, that's good stress. It's good. Like there's all kinds of good stress, and most of the time the good stress is outside of your comfort zone. We have to factor it in, just like we talked about last week. Remember the conversation that we had about freedom, and you got two sides of the line. You got freedom, and you have both sides of the line, and both sides of that line have the same word: discipline. Right? It's connected to stress. You proactively put good stress. Who wants to fucking ride a bike up a hill? Who wants to run? I don't want to run around a lake. You know what I'm saying? Or ride a bike and not go nowhere? Like there's all kind of things that we do to induce good stress. If you're working on something, you read a book and you're working on something, you keep failing at it, but you're continuing to work on it. That's good stress. Then there's other things that you can do. There's other things that you can do. Skydiving, there's extreme stuff you could try. Skydiving and certain things that if you have phobias or fears, you could attack those fears. That's good stress. It's free. And guess what? When you attack a fear and you induce good stress and you attack a phobia and you get past it, you're talking about freedom. It's an amazing feeling. I used to be scared of heights, and I worked my way to go skydiving. It's an amazing, freeing feeling, because can't nothing hold me. No trauma that I went through, gave me that feeling. There's no trauma that I've gone through in life that I can't overcome. If I can overcome this, what's next? Come on, what's up? It's good stress, and it powers you up. If you have a propensity not to forgive people who hurt you, work on forgiving. Good stress. Good stress.
I'm sorry for all the questions.
No, come on, please.
So, like, I'm a dopamine chaser. Like, I love doing shit that scares the hell out of me. But it's not like scary. It's more like I love taking what I consider calculated risks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love skydiving. I love riding my motorcycle. I love doing crazy shit. I buy snakes. Like, like I love the extremes of things. But then my brain goes, oh, you got plenty of stress in your life, but they're not stressors to me. So then what do you say to the people that fall in that cauldron of like the normal stressors of life, like don't have the same impacts? So then what do you advise them to look into?
It's levels to this shit, right? So everybody's comfort zone is different. So I say play at the edge of your comfort zone, because maybe 15 years or 20 years before that, the things that's normal for you is would have been stressful then. But life, like, it's so much. Your whole psychology changes once you have kids. You know what I'm saying? There's fears that fall off just from having kids alone. Especially if you're a protector of the family or something like that, or it's a lot that you would do. Get closer to my kid, see what happens. I'll fight a kid. And their mama and their daddy. Come on, like, your weird spidey senses go off when little creepy people, around your kid. I'll give you the look of death. Look at my daughter like that, right? Like, it's certain things that just fall off. So everybody's comfort zone is different. Everybody's comfort zone is different. So you play at the edge of your comfort zone because we all have gone through different things. So we got different thresholds. But never sit there in the center of your comfort. Never. You weak. It's a weak life. It's a weak, boring life. And we here to live it. And as entrepreneurs, we got to play big. We ain't got a choice at this. We don't have a choice as entrepreneurs. Go to the next slide. It talks about being stress-free, right?
How much good stress are you factoring in your life? Being stress-free creates weakness and
Come on.
impotence.
Come with it.
Being stressed. I want to be stress-free and an entrepreneur? Are you crazy? It's no way. Show me one. Show me one entrepreneur that's stress-free and successful. So if that's what you want, you gotta choose. You gotta pick one. Stress-free life. It doesn't work like that. Stress-free life is death. So we create the stress, and it doesn't matter where you are versus you, or I don't care if your comfort zone is super small or super large. It's depending on what you've been through and your fear levels and your ability to overcome fears and push yourself and get to the edge of your comfort zone. It all interchanges amongst you. But I don't care where it is, always play at the edge of it. Because what you want, your success, is there. That's how you grow. That's how you expand, is at the edge of your comfort zone. Guess what? Getting advice that doesn't make you feel good, where is that? Is it on the inside of your comfort zone or on the outside? So what the fuck you arguing about it for? Why you mad at the person then? If you want to grow and somebody who's been there gave you a stick to come out in the form of advice, and you looked at it and was like, why you hating on me? Instead of saying, oh, thank you, because you just pulled me out of my comfort zone and made me bigger. Why are we upset at the person? Why do we feel a certain way? See what I'm saying?
Cool. There's a question online. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your point.
Go ahead.
Ashley said, how do you quantify that? When do you know too much? When do you know if the level of stress is problematic versus just enough to help produce growth?
Good question, Ashley. Excellent question. It goes back to some boring shit that me and Nana you always say, like working out, you know what I mean? It's rhythm. What is your daily routine and rhythm? Your daily routine and rhythm will give you the nutrients you need and the darkness and rest you need to come and take the day again. So you have to have a rhythm. Also, the rhythm of nutrients that you need, and it's in one of these slides, is in the form of your group, the people who you hang around, who feed you, who are you feeding from, your association, the books you read, nutrients, people you associate with, nutrients. What you watching on TV? What shows are you watching? What music you listening to? If you listening to rap music about killing another all day, kill, all it's doing is elevating your stress levels. And then you go home and watch murder mysteries, and then you look on your app about all the shootings in your area, and then you just constantly elevating your stress. Now you get real stress. You don't want it. I'm going to go smoke. I can't do this. I'm going to go smoke. I'm going to drink. I'm going to do something to take me away from stress.
Let me chime in real quick. So, last week, 2 weeks ago, I blew my back out. And
See, once you started.
Okay, look, I hurt my back, all right?
Once you started.
Yo, okay, all right. Look, all right.
Hey, that's why I don't do that shit. You can never say the right thing.
Hey,
brother, but I
hey, all right, I'm big enough to handle this. So anyway, I hurt my back, right? And so I couldn't work out at all. And for, I think it's almost 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, the first 3 or 4 days, I couldn't even move because it was so bad. Like I was doing all kind of treatment, stuff like that. In those 2 weeks, I'm trying to eat, I realize I'm kind of close to my same workout eating patterns. So you kind of bloat up a little bit, right? It's crazy what your brain does when you go out of rhythm. And it's crazy the benefits of this workout rhythm. So when I'm working out, I carry a lot on my shoulders. I got, family, children, business, hope. I got all kind of people. I'm building relationships. I'm looking at all kind of system changes. I'm adopting all these changes. And when you're working out, it just sits on my shoulders, and just these shoulders are big, right? When you don't work out, my brain starts focusing on my age, my limitations, things that hurt me, my stress points, things that irritated me. Like all those things things I don't even pay attention to, all of a sudden became in my vision. I'm like, oh, that get on my nerves. What the fuck? Damn, I'm getting old. Maybe this might be it. God damn, my knees, you gotta be careful. Like your brain overwhelms you. So then, this week I'm back. So I've done 20 miles a day on my bike. So 60 miles so far. First day, it feels like the whole world just blew off my shoulder. I mean, all the problems just exploded, and I feel like I was standing above all my problems, looking down. I'm like, this is it? And all of a sudden, I'm walking tall again. And so, it's this thing where when we're saying we're working out, I think Shakina said it best, you won't know you trapped until you get out of it. When you get out of it, you'll be like, holy shit, I've been trapped by this. That's why I never feel the need to get high. I never feel the need to oh, I gotta get away. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out. It's like, you see that? That's it. You don't see us there, boy? Look here, boy. Anyway, but the thing is that it's this thing where y'all don't know how out of balance you are, and so you're almost. And then if you mix the current climate or the current colloquial part of this culture where we're arguing this idea of, oh my God, too much stress, you need to break away, oh my God, be fragile, oh my God, just be more fragile. If you combine that with not taking care of yourself and not being in a rhythm, I don't know how you're surviving. That shit is dark.
So much game. Like, understand, you need a rhythm. So the question is, how do you know how much stress is too much stress? And first, you need a rhythm. So if you remember, stress alone equals. So if you are just getting battered by stress all the time, and guess what? It happens a lot, especially black women, man. Come on. You guys take on a lot. You take on other people's problems, and you got kids and family and trying to raise. Remember, that equals death. You need some time, meaning you need nutrients. And your brain sometimes is not going to tell you when you need nutrients because it's in go mode. So you create the rhythm I'm gonna spend an hour, 2 hours. 2 hours a day is mine. 2 hours a day is mine. Now the other 22 or the other 18, is dedicated to whoever else. But 2 a day is mine. And I'm gonna dedicate it to this gym. I'm gonna dedicate it to reading something that will empower my mind, my body, my spirit, my strategies, my business. I'm gonna come to this class. Like I'm gonna dedicate time in a rhythm to me. That's nutrients. Because every plant, every animal, every human, without nutrients, in stress only, you die. Just nutrients alone, you die a slow, ugly death. So, to answer your question, you need to incorporate a rhythm for yourself, right? And then there's going to be moments. There's going to be moments in time where when you have a rhythm, you look at problems, you look at your list, you prioritize your list. And from a perspective of somebody who's in a rhythm, like you said, the problems look different. They have a different hue to them. If I don't meditate, it's so weird, man, and I think about it a lot. Like, it's a cold game that I've meditated this long in life, and that if I go a week without meditating, it's like I never meditated before in my life. It's cold-blooded. It's cold-blooded. Like, I literally look hangry. I act hangry, mad, irritated at the world. East Oakland, fuck this shit, honking. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with, because I need that. Now, I'm a completely different person when I meditate. Problems is much deeper. It takes much longer to get to that button of mine. Let's talk about it. How are you? That's a cognitive distortion. That's an assumption. Oh, that's okay. Let's talk about it. Like, I have a completely different disposition. But if I stack the days where I don't meditate, it's almost like I come down off of this high and I'm just a regular dude. So I need my rhythms. It's mandatory. I need the gym. I need to read. I need to meditate. All those things serve multiple purposes each. And that's investing into myself. So that's. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna be biased. I'm not gonna lean into the working out because y'all know y'all should work out. I own a gym, but the thing that the biggest problem that most of my clients have, which dials right back into the whole cyclical thing of plants, that is the most underrated thing ever, is the rest part. Like, plants need night. They can't continuously grow without rest. They need a reset. Humans are the only creatures in the world that think that they can skip out on their rest, on their downtime, on their recovery time, and be okay. And trying to get somebody to understand that, like, yeah, you got to have your stressors and your go time, and like that time where you hit the ground and you build up your grit. But if your rest time is not just as intentional, if not more aggressive than your go time, that's also death, because that's your reset every day. And
That's a great point. Question over here.
Have you asked if it's built, if the mindset is the sleep is the rest? And I'm asking that because I used to be like, I got to a point, I'm sleep when I die. And then I realized, no, I have to be a little bit more intentional about what I set forth each and every day. So now what the body does is, if I lead physical first, which goes back to working out in the morning, I can go to work, I can log in, I don't need no coffee or nothing. If I try to lead with my mind first, I'd be like, oh shit, I need some coffee, some tea, something, because there's a disconnect. And I went back, I was an insomniac too, because I'm like, I'll sleep when I die, shit don't work. So I have to ask,
thousands of clients over 10 years, but everybody's response has been different. But yes, the two common piles are, I'm asleep when I die, We got to work twice as hard to get half as much. And so there's this scarcity approach of, if I don't do everything within my power now, I'm not going to get the chance to, or somebody's going to do it first, that FOMO response. And then the opposite response is that they legit just didn't even know that their lack of prioritizing downtime, whether it was rest or just staring at the damn wall and counting the tiles, they didn't realize that by them being on all the time, the drag that it was taking on them when they were on. So it's usually either I legit didn't know, or the superhero approach, which both lead to burnout.
And here's the deal. It compounds. So lack of sleep compounds, but psychologically your brain doesn't know. So there's a thing that your brain does. It regulates for you anything that's happening around you. So if you are going 100 miles an hour, but you don't see a speedometer, right? You're just going 100 miles an hour. You're slowing down in the micros over time. You're slowing down throughout the day. By 5 p.m., 6 p.m., you're going 40 miles an hour, but your brain tells you you're going 100 because you're at your limit, you're at your max. So it's going off of your max, not by the speedometer. When you go the best you can, and that best is 100 at the beginning, your brain thinks it's at 100, but you're actually at 40. And by the end of the day, you're at 20, thinking you're at 100. So having a routine and a rhythm says, I know I have mental blind spots, and I know my brain will lie to me. So these rhythms are going to reset me back to square one, back to where the speedometer and my eye are on the same page. Without that, you're going to lie to yourself. And your body and brain is going to follow suit. So the insomniac part will happen over time because you keep telling that to your brain. I sleep because our brains, the slight differences between our brains and animals' brains is we're more programmable. We're way more programmable than an animal. We can program ourselves to reach beyond our comfort zones or what our nature is. So you got to watch what you say, A. And B, you have to have rhythms in place that reset you at your most optimal place, not where you want to be.
Is there a difference between resting and getting sleep? Yeah.
Yes. Getting sleep is you out. You out. You're not your body, you're an alpha, you're sleep. Your body is getting the rest. Because when your body goes to a certain wavelength, that's where all the true healing takes place and the rejuvenation takes place. Now, and you're completely allowed to get back to 100%. Rest, you could be sleeping on the couch and still burning calories, burning energy. You could be watching TV, interested in something, talking, and even though it's better than running around, you're still using and utilizing mental energy, and your stress levels won't change even though you're resting. Your body might be resting a little bit, but this is the biggest and most important muscle. And she's right. Your body leads your mind in a lot of ways. So that's why when you get up, you gotta send blood to your body. You gotta send blood there. And so the blood goes to your brain and it allows you to think clearer. Then you don't need coffee because you've already had that rush of blood to your brain, and the dopamine hits that you get from working out and the pleasures and the responses that your body gets. It's some of the most healing things you can do. That's why ideas can come. You can solve problems. It's not, this gym shit wasn't superficial. It's an entrepreneurial tool that's necessary. And the ones who do it, the people who I know, that is in 7, 8, 9, and even 10 digits, they work out religiously. One of my mentors is old as shit. Guess where he's at every morning? In the gym still, doing whatever he could do. Because it's not a nice to have or so you can look sexy. It is it's an entrepreneurial tool that you need to help you get stronger and carry more stress in your life.
Let me add, there's two things that's very important I want to add to what he's saying about sleep, actual sleep. So did you know that your brain, there's a spinal fluid that goes to your brain, literally washes your brain while you sleep? If you don't get sleep, it literally cleans your brain. Two, your brain is breaking and causing damage throughout the day. The repair happens during your sleep. It's proven if you go low enough in sleep, you will have signs of ADHD. A lot of our kids are not suffering from ADHD, they just don't get enough sleep. And so when you're having signs of ADHD, when we talk about time, attention, money, the most valuable resources is, in the hood, we say money, time, attention. In business, it's time, attention, money. Attention is robbed from you if you don't have sleep. You can't focus at all. So you have, sleep is critical to your ability. Focused thinking, slow thinking is necessary to solve complex problems. Otherwise, you'd be totally reactionary and you almost become victimized by the systems of life itself.
Good game. And imagine this. Imagine this. We got a lot of fashion folks here, so I'm gonna use a fashion analogy. Have you ever bought one thing, one pair of shoes, or just one shirt, or one pair of pants, or one dress, or one anything, and you put it in your closet, and it changed your whole closet up? Ain't that dope? Ain't that dope? Ain't that dope? Now you have like 7 different new outfits from one thing. When you read a book, imagine if you read a book, you read out of a book a day, 30 minutes. If you're a G, an hour, hour and a half. But just you read a chapter book and you learn one thing. It doesn't affect that one thing. When you learn one thing, it affects everything else that applies that's similar in your life. So now you're like, oh shit, I can apply this at home. I can apply this I can apply it here. I can apply it here. I can apply it in 7 different ways off of this one thing. Now imagine doing that every day. And then you say, well, it's easy for y'all. No. We do that. We do that. I literally take the learnings that I get and I apply it in as many places as I can. Now I'm compounding the learning of one thing. It's a cold game. No, I'm not gonna talk about that. It's a cold, beautiful game. So if you add reading and learning to your schedule, you talking about dopamine hits? When you get an aha moment from learning something, you talking about a dopamine hit? You don't need no drugs. You high for the rest of the day. Oh man, it's crazy. It's like you're like on psychedelics because you see all these things lighten up that apply to it. It gets amazing. So now you're reading, and so now you're getting high off what you learn. You learn one thing a day, but you translate it into 7, 8, 9 different things for that day. You go to the gym, you work out. You got brain flowing through your brain. I mean, you got blood flowing through your brain, through your ligaments, curing, healing. You don't need coffee. You ready to go. You ready to go. So now you're able to handle more stress. You're able to get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. You're open to new things. And now you're introducing stresses in your life. And when people say, man, how do you handle so much? How can you handle all that? You ain't even tripping. Like, man, yeah, I guess. And here's the thing. Does shit happen? Shit happens all the time. Things don't go as planned. Things don't go how we like. People break up with us. People break their commitments towards us. People don't follow through. We don't follow through. We fuck up. We do certain things. So life is full of uncertainties too. So if you are always moving inside your comfort zone in this stress-free world, when things hit you, you don't know what to do. But if you always practicing stress, you take that on the chin. All right, well, what's next? What we got to do? What does it look like? Give it to me. All right, here's the step 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do this.
It's going to be an oddball one, a silly one.
I take them.
Can you measure the quality, though, of your rhythm? Because what I also realized is that although I was busy as fuck, I wasn't efficient or as productive as I should have been. But my calendar was loaded. I had a smooth rhythm. But then when I went back and looked at some numbers, I was like, oh, but you really haven't done a lot.
That's a good one. And I'm sure a lot of us in here can relate, right? Because psychologically, a lot of times we feel comfortable being busy. Because we're brought up that busy equals success. And when you see people, hey, how you doing? What you up to? Man, I've been busy. What? So being busy is a internally and the subconscious. It's a pat on our backs. We need to be busy. Now, the beautiful thing you said is this: you always have to be checking your receipts. The question you ask yourself is this working? Is this working? Ego is the enemy says we all have to be willing to divorce any system that doesn't work. So we have to be cross-checking our rhythms to making sure it's effective. Is it working? Am I at my best? Let me look at my numbers. Let me look at my life. Let me look at my health. Let me look at everything in those pillars to see if my rhythm is actually helping me. If not, cancel it. Do more research. Try something. Talk to some people. Hey, what do you do? What do you do? What's your rhythm? If we are reading books and it's not helping us, if we're learning stuff entrepreneurially and it's not, talk to some people. What am I doing? If I'm in a gym and my body is not where I want it to be and I'm in the gym working out consistently, then there's something. Going to the gym is not the problem. There's something in a workout that I'm not doing. And I'm humble enough to find out. I'm humble enough to ask. If I've been reading, meditating, working out for a year and my bank account ain't changed none, something ain't right. Something ain't right. So I'm not going to continue the shit. I'm not going to continue doing it. I'm going to stop and reevaluate and find out what can I add, what can I take away, who's doing it, and who's having the results that I want, that I can ask and interview. Tell me about it. Tell me about what you do. You got another question? Go ahead. Go ahead. That's what this class is for.
So I feel like I'm in that now, and I did that for a year, but I'm piloting some shit. So it's like, is the data supposed to be there anyway, knowing that this is the beta, this is the R&D, the research and development of where I'm trying to get to. So it makes me want to ask how long. And for some reason I hear Nana saying, I ain't tell you the whole damn recipe. Like, it makes me wonder, like, for how long do you sit in that space or dump it? Because then I feel like I'm running from, no, I didn't embrace the friction. This is all a part of the process. You need to get to the data, but you're still in this early stage of development anyway. So how long?
So you said the key word, research and development. So you need to press down on the research side harder, right? Because if you research more, then what you can do is, what's average in each particular pillar? So if you peel a pillar off and you say emotionally, right? On average, whatever process you have, how long does it take on average for other people? Because you're doing the research to get to a particular milestone, right? But let's take an easy one. If it's gym and you want muscles, right? I want muscles on average. How long does it take somebody with my body type and my ethnicity, whatever, all the data, to get to a particular level of strength or body shape? On average, if it's this, by this time, and I've done it, and I get there, and I'm on the other end of that scale, I got questions. I want to talk to some trainers. I want to talk to some experts. I want to talk to some people who've been there before, that were like me, that can give me good insight. And then I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. Cause then remember, you got to be willing to divorce the shit. That's why I love me and Nana's relationship. You know why? Cause he from the hood too. He saw trauma too. He saw shooting and all that shit too. He was brought up around a dope game too. So I can't say, well, you don't understand what I've been through. Nope. And it's like, hey, how'd you solve that one problem? And it's so close to what I need, because I know he had to go around the block, and I know that liquor store was right there, and like I know he knows all the other unspoken things to get to that point. Versus somebody who made it to $1 million and been from where I'm from, like, well, why don't you just get friends and family to give you some money? You see what I'm saying? So do the research.
Right.
Up your research game in terms of finding averages outside of yourself. Or some people might say, no, you good, that's normal. 1 year for that's about right. Shakina does it all the time. She'll cause she's such a competitor. And I hear it, and it's like, no, actually, damn, you doing good. Or you early, you beating the game, Shakina. Calm down. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's helpful to know, oh, okay, well, I'm on track, or it just seems so long because you have no tangibles, right? You have nothing to grasp from. So I think the research side is more important at the stages of where you at. Ask questions. Who's done it around you? Can I talk to you for 15 minutes? Let me get some game from you. You know what I'm saying? And you can have your own timetable. This is not working. I don't like it. I'm gonna scrap it. Let me try something else. Until you find a formula that's really good and in the rhythm of progress. You're not getting no progress, none, not 1%, not 2%. See what I'm saying? I'm very what is that? I don't want to even say it because y'all gonna be like, pause. But I'm hella anal about it.
Wow, that was wild. Great, that was wild.
I don't know no other word.
Surgical.
Okay.
Fatality.
See?
That's a pause?
See? You
I
started
don't
this
know
shit. Now I
pause.
can't get it. I'm meticulous. I'm very meticulous about.
There's some water in here.
All right. I'm very meticulous about the research and if something's working or not. I'm like, because that is everything. If it ain't working, then toss it. And I will toss it in a heartbeat. Like the whole woo-woo shit, you know, like that's funny and it's dope, but like the minute it doesn't work in my life, it's gone. Period. Sage in the trash. But because it's part of my life and in the whole circle of it, I find benefit in it and it works for me, I'm gonna keep using it. I don't care what you say, right? But the minute it don't, it's gone. I ain't got no problem doing it. And that's how you gotta be in your search for getting better. Last one, and then.
It was just a quick comment that I think that, because there's a few questions and comments around the class, our habits and our patterns, like the things that we do consistently, not when we're trying, but like our ornate heuristics, those are the things that most people that are intentional create benchmarks around. So like the things that we're trying to achieve, whether it's financial or physical or emotional or relationship status or whatever, it's usually like sitting down and observing. It's not a how much, the quantifying of the things, but it's like if I'm trying to go to the gym, like, what am I doing when I go to the gym? How long am I going? How hard am I pushing? If I am trying to build a better relationship with my kid, am I going straight to my phone and am I going straight to a radio? How often am I talking to them? Am I asking them the baseline questions? Am I tuning them out after a certain period? Like being honest about where, like what are the benchmarks that we're measuring against and how often are we checking up against them? Because nobody has the same my goals are going to be completely different than Jasadi's and completely different than everybody's in this room because we have different goals, different patterns, different practices, and different check-ins and consistency with the things that we're doing. And so I think that like something that I've come up on in doing my reflections is it's not the what or the how much, it's the what and the why. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? How am I tracking it? Because I think that that's where the hell we fall off is we get our shaky what's and whys, but then we say fuck off to tracking. And then our brain fills in the gaps for all of the things that we refuse to track. And then if you don't track, your brain is just gonna make up some shit to make you feel good because human nature doesn't want you to feel bad about something that you've placed effort into. So I think just like establishing that what, that why, and then establishing a pattern for tracking so that you can actually create individual benchmarks to measure against. Because if you don't have specifics, how the hell are you even trying to quantify anything if you don't have anything to measure against?
Yeah, so is it working? And be honest. Don't justify. Don't justify. See, a lot of times we'll justify. Well, I didn't make money, but I made a lot of new contacts. I lost money, but if money is not part of your benchmark, then you're running from it. Stand there and make that a part of your benchmark. You know what I'm saying? Well, I had this goal, but this happened over here. No, let's stand here in the fire. Stand in the fire. Don't run from your smoke. And that's how you grow. That's how you grow because pain is stress, right? Stress plus nutrients equals your growth. So if you want to grow to those digits, that's what you need, that pain, you need that stress. All right? Thank you. Brief intermission.
No, let me hear all my wild shit. Yeah, don't cut me off. Those of you at home, we got some corny cat up in here trying to like censor me. Censor my goddamn words. Anyway, that's my little brother back there doing too much. He over ambitious and shit. But let me say this real quick. I'm about to give you guys the red pill versus the blue pill. We're about to get into some stuff that's going to change the way you think for the rest of your life. If your life is cool, you don't want to change shit, I suggest you either get the fuck up and leave this class right now, turn your TV off, or act like you're distracted and put on some music. Because I intend in these next 2 classes to create a lot of disruption. I'm talking about literally disrupt things you never thought about before. Now, if you have, please lob that back up to me and say, oh, I think about that all the damn time. And if you have, and you think about it all the damn time, I might come to your house for dinner because we have a lot to talk about. 2, next week, I'm going to kind of get religious on y'all. I'm going to talk about Abraham. Did you hear me?
Well, come on now.
I don't know what you come to do. Come to praise the name.
I can't stand here right now. So let Pastor Chris know I'm gonna kind of step in this terrain, but I'm gonna do it in a way that you guys would have never expected, and I'm gonna also change your lenses. The goal is to, in the next 2 classes, this class and when we come back from the break, I'm going to remove some lenses, add some lenses, and calibrate some lenses. And I can promise you, this is gonna be disruptive in your life. You won't be able to just do business as usual. You won't feel life. You're gonna see things you've never seen before. It's the same as when you buy that car you never saw before, and all of a sudden you see it everywhere. I'm going to introduce ideas in these next 2 classes. As soon as Shabisha gets back, as soon as she sits herself in that chair, we're gonna take off because we got a lot to cover. If you have aspirin in the room, take them motherfuckers now, because I plan on creating some headaches up in here. Yeah, that was, yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, don't, yeah, Vanna White that to me, thank you. So, all right, huh? Let me just double check we're in the right place. Hold on. I think when she gave them back, she sent them to me. Just double check real quick. We had to update our slides. Danielle, by the way, y'all, got in a car accident. Oh. And so she's been kind of like under the weather. And so, yeah, this is the first one. So I'm gonna stay with you. So she's kind of like, in and out of it. So that's why she missed the slide on course, and she missed my 7 last slides. I was on the side texting her like, I need those 7 slides, and I called her. She sounded drowsy, so she might be on them special drugs. You understand me? So, and no, don't none of y'all call and ask for some, okay? I know how the hood is. Y'all like, you got any more of those Valiums? Don't ask for no goddamn Valiums. You understand me? So they gonna work like that. So the first one is some of us are naturally skeptical. Go back to that one. Okay, go ahead. Are you ready, Shabisha?
Yeah.
Y'all ready to get down? Yeah. Everybody's cool? Everybody got something to drink? Everybody stretched out? Desadi, you got you some more food? Oh, good. All right, so let's go. All right, let's do this real quick. Let's fire it off.
Some of us are naturally skeptical of what we're told. Maybe it doesn't match up to our experiences. Maybe it's something that used to be true but isn't true anymore. And maybe we just think very differently about something. When it comes down to it, everything that is not a law of nature is just a shared belief. Money is a shared belief. So is a border. So are Bitcoin. So is love.
So is love?
The list goes on.
Did you say so is love?
I did.
Okay. I didn't say it though, right? Because sometimes they may call me sexist for saying it. But so is love.
I mean, you know the rules of the game.
That was on point, baby. You understand me? So let me say this real quick. So we're still talking about first principle thinking. And the goal of first principle thinking, I'm going to speed some of this up because I'm going to land some heavy weight on you tonight. But first principle thinking is realizing all the assumptions that go into our thoughts. A lot of us use the word rationale. I'm being rational. Right? I'm being very rational. But what many of us don't realize what we're really saying, and hear what I'm about to say here. For many of us, rational is just it means consistent. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you're thinking. Doesn't mean that you're following some process of order that goes along with the thought, or some process of the science, or you're lying with the science, or you're looking at the facts and you're lining the facts up. You're just being consistent. So quite often, you may even use rational as a way to weaponize common sense, when common sense is just consistency. And a lot of times, you're not actually pulling from facts, you're throwing in there so many hidden assumptions. And you don't realize that you're actually victimized by your assumptions, not the obstacle or the challenge in front of you. This is critical. Stay with me. Next slide. We're going to roll kind of fast because I got some heat tonight. Let's go.
Clarifying your thinking and explaining the origins of your ideas. Mm-hmm. Why do I think this?
So real quick, before we get into this, when you're thinking, I promise you, this is more important than you realize. And you might have to go back after I go further into this class to go back and go, shit, that was important. But when you're trying to solve major problems in your business, make major decisions, you're at crossroads, you have to learn how to question. It's called Socratic thinking. Question your thoughts. In addition to this, sometimes you even do this after you made a decision, or when you're working out, or when you're in the shower, or when you're cooking, or when you clean the house, or when you're just doing these things that are mindless. A lot of times you should go back and re-examine decisions you made throughout the day that you think could have impact in your life, and you want to repeat this process here. So start again. You be sure?
Sorry.
Why do I think?
Why do I think this? What exactly do I think? Challenging assumptions.
Right.
How do I know this is true?
I promise you, this rhythm, it's going to take some time to practice this, because thinking is not something you're going to pick up just from listening in class. It's a practice. I'm introducing to you a routine or workout. If you approach this from, I heard this, I memorized this, I got this, you cannot use this. This is something that you want to use every time you're in the process of making a decision. So go for it. Finish going.
How do I know this is true? What if I thought the opposite? Looking for evidence. How can I back this up? What are the sources? Considering alternative perspectives.
So alternative perspectives. You don't realize how you may be acting religious about a lot of your ideas. And your religious ideas have protected your assumptions. And you'll never be able to crack that system until you practice the art of considering alternative perspectives. I will listen to sometimes people from right wing, left wing, from different background, different practices. People I think, it doesn't make that much sense. And if I sit there long enough, I will at some point challenge some idea I've held for a long time and start to shift that idea. It is hard as hell. Okay, your brain forms mindsets really, really fast, and mental models really, really fast. But shifting them is very, very difficult. Extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. Matter of fact, I could teach you, you can have a problem right now that has a mental model that you've been believing all these years. And I can introduce you to a brand new mental model, which is an excellent solution for you. But for some reason, you just can't let go of your old mental model. That's very human. That's very fucking human. Matter of fact, you know that famous phrase is like, you think you can box, and until you get slapped in the face, you do a windmill? That's how the brain works in that space, right? So this is not something that, this is very human of you. There's limitations to being a human, right? There's things where your brain, many of us don't have any knowledge of how the brain works, right? So quite often you've adopted so many ideas and values and mental models and mindsets of how the world works, right? That if you're not practicing these basics, the poor stay poor, the rich get rich. That's how it happens. This is exactly how it happens. And if you don't, this is how you start to crack that system, so you can leave the class of being. I'm always been poor. My mom was poor. I grew up poor. I guess I'm going to always be poor. You can't crack the system. Keep going, Shabisha.
What might others think? How do I know I am correct? Examining consequences and implications.
So in your thoughts, you should examine the consequences and of the implications of whatever you're going to do. Or what others think. How do I know I'm correct? Like being responsible to others. One of my students called, one of my interns called me last night. She said, "No, I just want to be free." And she caught me when I was washing clothes. And I said to her, "What the fuck is that?" She said, I just want to get in my car and just, drive and do what I want to do. And I said, "Yeah, but what the fuck is that? What is freedom?" Have you ever asked that fucking question? What is freedom? I said, the freedom you're talking about is television shit. She lived happily ever after. The reality is that freedom requires submission to something. You go from being free from one thing to submitting to something else. As a human being, you will never be free. Absolute freedom. You can have a sense of freedom, but to be absolutely free, she said, "Well, what if I go off the grid and live, in the woods?" I said, "Well, how would you eat?" "Well, I would have a farm." "Oh, there goes your freedom." "I have animals." "Oh, well, God damn it, you got less freedom than I had." Right? As long as you have to eat, sleep, and what else, the reality is that freedom will always be compromised. I said, what you're trying to do is seek ultimate happiness. You know how you seek ultimate happiness? Serve others. Ain't that an old biblical saying? How do you worship God? Serve God? Serve your brother, take care of your brother and sister? And yet, serving others is the real world form of happiness is serving other people. The make-believe television of happiness is doing what I want to do, not giving a fuck, whatever, and be depressed and miserable as hell. There's no such thing. I know I crushed her fucking dreams, but I'm trying to wake her the fuck up too. Keep going.
What if I am wrong? What are the consequences if I am? Questioning the original question.
I promise you this. These exercises are crazy. And like I said, you got a cell phone, take a picture of this if you're at home. Trey, throw it on the screen one more time for like maybe a minute or 30 seconds or something like this. Now, and the last one. Last one.
Oh, sorry. Why did I think that? Was I correct? What conclusions can I draw from the reasoning process?
If you practice this process here, these group of questions, feedback gets easy for you, Gaja. Because then you no longer feel like this is my foundation. I know what I know. You realize you don't know what you know. You realize that a lot of shit you know is based upon assumptions. And then once you realize how fragile your knowledge actually really, really is, now you open to feedback because you realize, damn, all this time I've been running around here just echoing these assumptions or these common ideas, these common beliefs that have no value, no substance behind them. So one of the reasons many of you are too damn cocky because you think your assumptions are facts. You don't realize you don't know what you don't know. If you just practice this every day in your decision making, if you walk down the street, just continue to ask yourself this question, you'll realize, oh, I got questions to ask. I got to start reading some shit. I got to look some stuff up. Even if you didn't read a lot, just say you're at the lowest level, you're Mr. and Mrs. Google Queen. Why? Because you realize, I don't know. But when you don't practice first principle thinking, it builds this false sense of this awareness and understanding and insight. And matter of fact, you do that, I call it American arrogance. This is how the world should be. This is what they meant in history. This is what they were thinking when they wrote this. What the fuck is wrong with you? Full of assumptions. Next slide. I'm moving fast because I got so much to cover. This is just going to get like crazy. Go ahead.
Socratic questioning stops you from relying on your gut.
Wait. Stops you from relying on your what?
Gut.
Your what?
Gut.
I think somebody said gut, right? You know that thing where like you just feel it? Like I don't know what to think, but I'm just going to just feel my way through this? This is the area where you repeat old habits and you don't know you're repeating traumatic old habits. because you're relying upon your gut? Are you repeating cultural limitations? You're repeating cultural limitations? You're repeating the same mistakes you've been making all these years? Or you're taking a success you had one time and trying to repeat it when everything's changed? Right? Because think about this. You could do something, you could do the same thing and can become successful 10 times, and then one day it just never work again. It'll never work again. But you will be the last to know because you are stuck on your beliefs, not practicing this process of Socratic questioning. Keep going.
And limit strong emotional responses. This process helps you build something that lasts.
Next slide.
The goal of the 5 whys is to land on a what or how.
So this is kind of what Shakina was leaning towards. She kind of twisted a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and give her credit for this one. Go for it.
It is not about introspection, such as, why do I feel like this?
Okay, first of all, you know what I'm about to say, right? What would I say right now?
Fuck your feelings.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I mean, whatever the answer is fuck your feelings. to whatever the question is, fuck your feelings? Rather, it is about systematically delving further into a statement or concept so that you can separate reliable knowledge from assumption.
There you go. So a lot of times, here's the thing. I'm gonna share this. This is we're gonna have a black folks conversation. Maybe Veronica, tell me. By the way, y'all at home, Veronica's in the house, and I feel like we got a celebrity in the house. It's just Veronica's like the hype person online. So you know what I mean. So in the end, it's like, yo, it's good to see my family. But y'all ever know when you talk to black folks about areas like business and money, there is this third rail, and you better not get too close to it. Right? It can literally start. You can feel like if you go 2 more questions, we're in argument space. Are you talking too much? Just give me the fucking answer. You doing too much? Right? When you need to get past the assumptions, you gotta get past the third rail. So when I says fuck your feelings, because your feelings is often the third rail that stops us from getting to a dialogue that can actually solve your problem. You see where I'm going with this? So every time I tell you fuck your feelings, I'm not just being an asshole. I'm really telling you your feelings is stopping you from solving your problems because you can't change the way you see the world because your feelings is the third rail that blocks the dialogue. Keep rolling.
If your whys result in a statement of falsifiable fact,
Yeah, remember falsifiable facts, right? Okay, good. Keep going.
you have hit a first principle.
Mm-hmm.
If they end up with a because I said so,
Uh-oh, wait a minute. Y'all know how we were raised because I said so is a black phrase of keep talking. Mm-hmm. Just keep talking if you want, right? Keep going.
or it just is.
Once again, it just is. Or can I add a third one to that? That's what everybody believes. Everybody knows that. Fuck is everybody knows that? Like, who in the fuck knows everybody? I ain't never met everybody. Shit. But keep going.
You know you have landed on an assumption that may be based on popular opinion.
Uh-oh. So there you go. When you hear these famous phrases, because I said so, everybody knows that. Because it is what it is. That's what it's always been. The Bible says it's lazy. That's the laziest. Any scholar of Bible will tell you that interpretation is not just what it says. There's so many different interpretations. Or this is what my mother taught me this. You know, there's people who died for this. Oh my God.
God told me last night.
You said which one?
God told me.
Oh yeah, God told me. Look, last night I was laying down and God came to me and told me, you need to cut that shit out. Go wait. Shamar raised her hand. If you don't give her goddamn 2 mics, when she raised her hand, we need to give her 2 microphones. Go ahead.
Okay, so since my business is fairly new, so as I research information, some things in my business are not things that have a lot of information about them. So I do massage. There's tons of data on massage. There's not so much on stretch. You can correlate the two, but then you shouldn't always do that, right? So I look at other things that people do. So what competes in that space or what is happening in that space. But they're not always the equivalent. So as I go through the process of thinking that through, some of it I do go on assumption because I just don't know. So how do you work through getting to the truth?
Okay, so let me help you out because that's a great one. When there is, and science is based upon assumptions. All science is based on. I think that was the guy who wrote the book about. Jesus Christ, where's my phone at? I'll pass my phone. The famous science book. A very famous scientist. He wrote a book. I'm trying to look it up while I'm talking to you guys. But one of the arguments he's made is that science is not based upon facts. It has facts in it, but it's based upon a lot of assumptions. You have to. What's his name?
The Haunted World by, what's his name?
Yeah, it's gonna come back to me in 1 second. I'll tell you 1 second because it's important. It's one of my favorite books I ever read. I just never tell in class because it made Carl Sagan. So Carl Sagan wrote a book, and he was highlighting that science is debatable because it's not based upon facts. In business, you're not going to be always perfect, right? You want to try to reduce. So if you know you don't have facts, or you can't anchor it on some type of facts, or you don't have this clear causation, then you should always also understand that everything you're doing, you're testing and you're discovering. You're never going to actually ever get comfortable. There's no, I know what I'm doing. You're in constant discovery mode, right? Until you die. And you may only make 10%, 20% progress. It may be a very successful life for you. It may be a wonderful life, right? But the reality is that you're part of the journey of discovery. You're not part of, in most fields, we're all part of that, right? Like even when there's a gym trainer, most of the stuff is still in discovery. Doctors, still in discovery, right? Economics, if you talk to economists in the 1950s, they would tell you, oh yeah, we understand the economy. Got it all. Don't need no help. Ask economists today, they understand the economy, they tell you, no, I don't understand this shit. Right? They're in discovery zone. So as professionals, we're always in discovery. However, it's one of those things when you try to turn these assumptions into concrete facts and leave your ears open to no other. So now you should be more curious and hearing, listening to things and testing and teetering. And it's going, okay, that doesn't make sense because these other laws that apply, that's not possible, right? And so you're constantly in that constant discovery. You constantly keep your eyes, you're looking for new patterns and because the human brain is excellent at identifying patterns, right? I think what I'm trying to say to you is that none of us in here absolutely know what we're doing at all times. We're always assuming to a certain degree. It's when we think the assumption is facts is the problems. It's not the problem with assumptions. So I don't want to demonize, I don't want to turn the word assumption to a dirty word because we have to do it. Like nobody knows everything. Even if you build a wonderful team around you, at some point you guys are going to perform a hypothesis, an educated assumption, right? And so because of that, that's part of the game. But what it does for the individual when you're making decisions is you don't move with this egotistical blindness. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I've been there before. All that's irrelevant. All that's one of the biggest ones I know, one of the biggest flaws I see in some people, they'll go, yeah, this before and it worked. All the variables changed. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, this is what we've been doing all these years, right? Now they're moving in just blind assumptions with arrogance, as opposed to, it worked last time, let's examine it again. It worked again. Okay, let's examine it again, right? So with 510 Media, we examine our jobs after we finish our jobs. What we call them postmortem, is to say, hey, what went well, what could have not went well, what did we like, what didn't we like? We go through this whole process of examining the job. Why is that? Because we want to get ready for the next job. We don't assume we could just copy and paste, especially in a world where you deal with competition. It's just not possible. So, yes, you're moving assumptions, but we're never arrogant. It's almost like, like I told Shakina earlier today, one way is like a approach of control, which is I want to control my knowledge. That's very rigid and fragile. You want to build knowledge that flows and always learn to flow with whatever you need to flow with to get to where you need to get to, as opposed to trying to be like, I'm going to do it this one way. You're like, yeah, well, maybe that way doesn't work. Right? And so if I'm moving in space of knowing that, so when I'm examining a problem, I go, okay, I got a problem in front of me. Let's say you have somebody laying on your table and you're like, okay, this person says my back hurt, right? What does I absolutely know? Okay, I can speak about those things in absolute confidence. Now, these next 5 things are assumptions. So when I talk about these next 5 things, I say, hey, here's some common things that are being said about the industry, and it looks like this could possibly be true. You speak with that type of preference to let people know that I'm not coming with this level of confidence around these subjects here, right? Where you go wrong as a business, again, everybody's been to a business where somebody spoke as if they were absolutely knowledgeable, and they only found out that half the shit they said was false. Now you see them as a quack. As opposed to somebody saying, hey, this is where the knowledge sits, here's where the assumption sits. So just being able to show up into that, or, hey, you need to buy this new equipment, it's gonna cost you 25 grand. You're like, well, if he does, you got to go down to like, what do I know about this equipment? What do I know about this problem it's trying to solve? How do I know this is possible? How do I even know, what do I know about the market that I'm trying to launch, that I'm trying to use this equipment to make a profit on, right? As an investment. Like, if you don't know those then you just get caught up in your emotions, and then you take your emotions become facts in your brain, and you start making decisions to realize that actually you try to turn those assumptions into logical facts. That's the problem. You agree with that? Everybody got that so far? All right. Next slide.
There is no doubt that both of these methods slows us down in the short term.
So when you first start using first principle thinking, which is examining your assumptions, asking your Socratic questions, it's going to make you feel like you're slowing down a little bit. But it's one of those things where, I remember a long time ago, I played this old man when I was in my 30s. He's like, yo, you want to play some basketball? And I said, Pops, come on, man. Come on, Pops. I'm going to run circles around you. You don't want to do this, Pops, right? This is when I used to play basketball every day. Knees was good and everything. Pops was hella slow. I think he would be 35-7. Like, straight slow. Luka Doncic, slow. I'm over there sweating. Hey, by the time I got to 5, I was on oxygen. I needed like IV in my own to keep this game going. Those last 2 was God support, right? And what you find out sometimes is that moving fast will make you feel great. But a lot of times you're actually just making a lot of assumptions and copy and pasting bad ideas. Slowing down with first principle allows you to sit down and go, why are we doing this way? There's this phrase that said, everybody knew apples fell off the tree, but only the scientists. Yeah. Only scientists knew asked why. That's the big difference there. See, when you do that's first principle thinking. He's going like, it falls off the tree, but why does it fall off the tree? See, everybody's assuming because that's what they're supposed to do. That's assumption. Isaac Newton goes, but why? And a whole new world is born. You see where I'm going with this? This is where some of your flaws are happening, and this is about to get crazy as we get further into this lesson. That's why I'm trying to rush the first part, and it's kind of a recap, but kind of like adding to the recap. But everybody hanging with me so far? If I'm losing anybody, raise your fucking hand. I'll bring it back a little bit. Okay. You know what? Tennille, I tell you, I promise you, I'm Tennille. Okay, go ahead. So next one.
We have to pause.
What?
We have to pause.
I do that every day. Go ahead.
Think and research.
There you go. Pause, think, and research. So I can tell what type of entrepreneur you are by your rhythm. If you ain't cool and you ain't smooth, I don't trust your entrepreneurship. You're not solving problems, you're just managing problems. A real good entrepreneur creates space. When you're busy at your job all the time, this is another reason you cannot be busy on the floor at your job all the time. You don't have time for slow thinking to solve your problems. Being busy is a weakness. If you tell me you're busy, I'm looking at you like you're trash with a smile. Really, you busy? Okay, ain't trash. I'm not gonna give you a fucking dime. I understand. All right, I see you in class. You really have to slow down and practice slow thinking. And slow thinking is where first principle thinking happens. If you're always moving quick, I promise you, the mistakes you're making are invisible to you. Meaning that you're a very intelligent person making dumbass mistakes. Smart as shit. A lot of knowledge. I'm gonna get further into this in a minute. I'm gonna challenge that in a second. Keep going.
They seem to get in the way of what we want to accomplish. And after we do them a couple of times, we realize that after one or two questions, we are often lost. We actually don't know how to answer most of the questions.
So here's the thing. Once you start asking yourself those Socratic questions, you don't realize you really don't know a lot of shit. It's gonna scare the fuck out of you. Because your ego this whole time has been getting these nutrients off of your assumption. Let me say this again. Your ego has been getting its nutrients. I'm using coarse language. I want you to hear this point. Your ego has been getting its nutrients off your assumptions. Do you understand how hard it is? How your ego's like, what the fuck you mean you gotta question this? Like, yo, I need my food. You got the game fucked up. Like, do you realize when somebody says, hey, you know about that that material they use in cars that kind of make it run different, and you go like, yeah. Well, you know the fuck you didn't know what I said. But your ego's like, you better say yeah, because you know what I told you. I need my motherfucking assumptions. You feel me? So the reality is that, so I'm showing y'all some cold game here on this cold process of how your brain works that has nothing to do with how many degrees you have, how many books you've read. Your ego is your ego. And the assumption game is a cold-blooded, invisible, it's almost like a cloak, an invisible cloak system inside your brain that cloaks off knowledge from you. When you think when your assumptions get too rich, you'll believe you don't need nobody. You think you're a hero now because you assume too much. You'll think you know shit. And when shit fails, you'll start blaming the outside world and never realize it's always been you. Keep rolling.
But when we are confronted with our own ignorance, we can't just give up or resort to self-defense.
Y'all know how that work, right? So if I catch you in that ignorant space, you know what, y'all, who the fuck are you, Nana? Coming at me all disrespecting me and shit. That's why I don't appreciate how black men be coming at black women like this. You know what I'm saying? All that macho shit you on and shit. You know what I'm saying? That cis male shit.
Cis male?
Yeah, that's what's happening in society right now. When you get close to that third rail, it's time to start talking about you. You know, you hella old and shit, past 50. What the fuck you gonna tell me? Oh, ancient ass thoughts. You know what the fuck I'm saying, right? Keep going.
If we do, we will never identify the first principles we have to work with.
You'll never see it.
And
Blaming the outside world, social justice, white supremacy, women, men, straight, gay, Jews, Asians, Latinos, dwarfs, 7-footers. None of this shit. It's you. It's nothing on the outside world. Keep going.
And will instead make mistakes that will slow us down in the long term.
Meaning that you only got so many years. Remember time, attention, money? You move so goddamn slow. By the time the regular person who's using their mind appropriately is able to make major steps, you just made it to the first step. And you so happy when your family applaud you. Oh my God. Oh my God, got your own apartment now, your own car. I'm so proud of you. You ain't never been to jail. Oh my God. Your assumptions are fucking you up. And you're intelligent. I want you to understand this. This is not about, oh, you can't judge me. This is a part of you don't even have access to because you stopped the process from working itself out. Next one.
Many people mistakenly believe that creativity is something that only some of us are born with,
I actually used to believe that. Go ahead.
and either we have it or we don't.
I really believe that. Go ahead.
Fortunately, there seems to be ample evidence that this isn't true. We're all born rather creative, but during our formative years, it can be beaten out of us by busy parents and teachers.
Slow down. I'll even go further for black folks. It could be beaten out of us. Sometimes y'all too busy to let your children grow. Do you realize, like as a father to a daughter who I am constantly massaging her creativity, my wife says it's best, her creativity bumps against our systems all the fucking time. Our comfort zones all the fucking time. You're gonna come in the house one day and that couch is gonna be all kind of crayon colors. And you bet not show that motherfucking face. Because my daughter, me and her have this dope question dialogue. So my daughter's never seen me raise my voice. And one thing I tell her all the time is that, one thing I look at my daughter, I told Court this the other day. My daughter is 5. She's walking around experimenting every damn day and something go wrong. When they go wrong, we have a dialogue. They went wrong. I don't go, what? Why you do that shit? I told you not to do that last time. Damn these badass kids. None of that shit. I'd be like, okay, well, that didn't go the way you planned. What do you think happened? But no, sometimes mistakes has to happen for you to grow. That's the way growth happens, is through mistakes. So I told you, we're not about to sit here and have a long dialogue about your mistake. But what we're going to do is we're going to examine how we can do better next time. Because remember what I told you? Practice. And as an NT, we never quit. So the other day, my wife decided to draw some stick figures, like we were playing like charades, right? Draw stick figures. Now, my wife drawing is hilarious. Oh my God. I'm talking about, I fell off the couch. So she pulled a picture. I was in tears, and she's just looking at me like, I hate you, right? So my wife goes, I just can't. Fine, I ain't gonna do no more. And my daughter says, NTs don't quit. Right? So she went back over there and just started working on little stick figures. I'm having the best laughter. I'm talking about, it was like watching Kevin Hart's new comedy show. It's the best ever, right? But I created an environment to stimulate creativity, but also teach her boundaries, right? I'm engaging her. When you're so busy and just trying to make them fit into your schedule, you're beating their creativity out of them. When they go to these schools and it's like test, next lesson, you're beating the creativity out of our kids. I went to a college the other day. They said, look, we only have, scripts? They only have 3 or 4 courses. Because here, we allow people to sit here and think. The rulers of tomorrow are thinking. I don't care what race you come from. The rulers of tomorrow get a chance to think. Those of you who have this efficient household where everybody does what you want to do, when you want to do it, get up, go to bed, move, go to school, move, come on, move. But they get older, you're like, why can't they come up with new ideas? You didn't beat the shit out of them. And when they made mistakes, you be fucking up shit. Do you know how often human beings experiment and it goes wrong? There's a lot of people sitting in jail right now because they tried something that went wrong. Now you have to teach children boundaries and give them insights and wisdom when they make those mistakes. It's an opportunity to have great dialogue. But it shouldn't turn into you beating up on them. Keep going.
Can I ask a question about that? I'm not a parent, but the question that's coming up for me is I wonder how many parents feel like they have the equipment or the tools to be able to show up to their children like that.
Because parenting is working on yourself. That's the answer to that. It's so fucking straight up. I think where we go wrong with all these parenting books, we just need to read books about ourselves. Cut all that shit out. How I'm gonna fix the kid? No, how to fix your fucking self. Fuck, you gonna teach a kid do you know how much your kid picks up from you that you don't get a chance to even dictate? My daughter's picked up so many of my ways, she's picked up some of my country ass comments that I'm like, when did you pick that up? Right? So you think the point of your awareness is the only point of their education. What you'll realize is that the educational space that you're filling with them is so much broader. So if you're not constantly working on yourself, cut all this, I'm a good parent and I got a shitty ass personal life. If you got a shitty ass personal life, you're a shitty ass parent. I'm keeping it real. You don't get like me, then fuck it. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. Next one. Did we finish that slide?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Now, all right, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, this gonna get cold. It's time to get sensitive for a little bit, but this shit's gonna give you some deep ass insights. Y'all ready for this shit? Roll. Next slide. Let's go. Now listen, this is very important. This is so fucking important. What she's about to read here. Go.
My slide looks different. I'm going to read that one.
Okay.
When we speak of improving the mind, we are usually referring to the acquisition of information or knowledge.
So y'all know, y'all have heard this in the hood 1,000 times from black families. You know, we gotta get knowledge. I think Nation Islam uses knowledge of the black, something knowledge. Huh? Knowledge is power, right? You heard knowledge is power? You heard phrases like, if you want to hide knowledge from black people, put it in a book. Yeah, library book. Yeah, that's how you did it for me, because I didn't go there and look. That library was like depressing. But put it in a book, right? So it set this stage that the goal of growth was gaining what? Knowledge. Keep going, Shabisha.
Or to the type of thoughts one should have, and not to the actual functioning of the mind.
So, knowledge or how to think has also been what the church and culture has done for us. This is how you should think, right? Your family, this is how you should think. So you combine knowledge and how you should, the kind of thoughts you should have, not how you should think, but the kind of thoughts you should have, right? Go ahead. So kind of morality, principles, what's the word? The moral of the story. Y'all, you know, I grew up in an area where every cartoon's had a moral of the story is, right? But go ahead, keep going.
We spend little time monitoring our own thinking and comparing it with a more sophisticated ideal.
Keep going. Next slide. Wait, go back. That's it, sorry. Almost missed it my damn self because I was so busy thinking about the last point. Now, write this down. Knowledge and thinking is not the same thing.
Can't even exist at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't exist at the same time. Knowledge and thinking. So tell me real quick, where do you go, people, to learn how to think? I'll wait for you. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Nowhere, huh? But you go, where do you go for knowledge? All kind of places, right? You can go online, Google it. You can go YouTube University. Do you realize that our thinking is impacted by culture, experiences, work, trauma, and ain't nobody upgrading you in those areas. And you're inheriting your thinking from who? The generation before you, and the generation before that. What did those generations have in common? It's untouched resources. So you have all this knowledge. You have, okay, so let me give you an example of the difference between knowledge and thinking. When we first got our house, I bought hella tools, but couldn't fix nothing. All my tools are hella clean right now. Ain't no dust on my shit, right? That's what knowledge is. It's a tool shed full of tools, but you can't solve the fucking problems around you. My wife's father, Pops, I call him Pops. Pops would go into a room and go, hey, I'm going to work in this area of the house. And he would have this intent in his mind, I want to do this. I want to reframe this, put this in, change the plumbing, change the electrical. And when he opened the wall up, he would say, oh shit, it's not what I planned. everything's changed. All these different variables. Wood is rotten, termites, wrong type of piping. The electrical system is designed in a way I don't quite understand. The person before us didn't follow the code. What made him a powerful person is that at the end of the day, he still got to his destination. You know why he got to his destination? Because he was able to think. He's able to reach back and grab all that knowledge and think how to apply the knowledge correctly to achieve the outcome.
Woo, that's gay.
Y'all see the fucking difference? Black people, we're going to Harvard and we still can't think. We're going to Stanford, we still can't think. We're going to Cal Berkeley, we still can't think. You wonder what is the difference between black culture and white culture, or success culture, not all white culture. Because a lot of white cultures suffer just like a lot of poor black cultures, like a lot of poor Latino cultures. It's flaws in our thinking. So we go to these schools, they help our kids, and we load up more knowledge. You want some more tools? I got some Milwaukee tools. I know y'all fuck with them Stanley tools, but I got Milwaukee tools. This shit will like cut through a 2x4 board that fast. You want a drill, hammer drill, it'll cut through any cement wall you want. The kid be like, oh my God, thank you. And they end up in jail 5 years later. You never change their thinking. And you didn't even know that's a thing. So you brought your slave, Jim Crow, crack influence thinking to this child with more knowledge on top of creating even deeper confusion. No one's ever told black people, hey, your thinking is fucked up. You got all this now. So we could use fancy words. We could perm my hair, put on a tight ass suits with a tie. We can wear jewelry and call out words and names of cars. Yeah, I drive a Bugatti something number. But we can't think. And then you blame now, oh, the Jews. No, it ain't the Jews. The Jews had this amazing experience. I fucks with Jews. You're like, what? Yeah, I do. I told you a long time, go to LA, go to the Jewish community. If y'all want to see some dope ass business people, check out the Jewish community. Dope ass people. I learn from them every fucking time I'm in their presence. I ain't never seen people do business like this before. They some cold motherfucking business people. We just got back from, Ontario.
Yeah, the airport, yeah.
Yeah, the whole city, just everybody's like fighting. I love good business. Jews back in the first century of their religion, the rabbis told them that education was mandatory. They didn't practice an education as a thing and learning and gaining experiences from being the business side of Europe and running the commerce systems and building systems for years and years. All that knowledge moving forward and it's integrated into their religion and it's being passed to their rabbis and the Jewish culture is being enriched. And you think, oh, they're holding us back. No, your thinking is slavery induced. So you're not even competing. And you think, oh, that's just not fair. No, they take advantage of their opportunities. They don't wake up tomorrow going, how can we be fair to everybody? Oh my God. They're trying to survive. You're just not, it's like, have you ever been in the game before and been the worst person on the team? If you're the worst person on the team, everything feels fucked up. Everything. Like you sit on the sideline, you're like, they'll never let me play and shit. I don't even wash my uniform and shit. It's some bullshit. My mom up there, and that coach hella hating on me. He don't never listen to the fuck I say. Become the starter of the team. Damn, my mama sitting right here and shit. Damn. Coach gonna take us to lunch afterwards. This is hella cool. Damn, they got my face on the billboard. Oh my God. Shit seems unfair when you're on a losing team. I get it. But systemic slavery is real. Historical impact of slavery is real. Jim Crowism is real. Systemic racism today is real. But the way it continues is that in order for those systems to work, we have to participate. That's the fucked up part. You have to participate. And your participation is you don't know that you need to upgrade your thinking. And I promise you never heard that shit before, have you? Anybody ever heard that where we lack is thinking, not knowledge? It's even proven, if you have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things, but your thinking is robust, you can outperform almost anybody. That's a proven fact in business. They tell you in business, you're more powerful if you know a little bit about a lot. Got you fucked up a little bit, don't it? But keep going, just hang with me. Next slide.
This process may be visualized as perceiving the world through a lens or screen that channels and focuses and thereby may distort the images that are seen.
Go ahead.
To achieve the clearest possible image of China, for example, analysts need more than information on China.
So, Rich, listen to this shit. This shit is so fucking deep. I want you to hear this shit because this is the next layer of thinking. And I might open up the next year's class. Just hit this out the gate. But in order for analysts, so this is like CIA. This is from the CIA material, by the way. If CIA had to analyze China, right, they need more than information on China. Keep going.
They also need to understand their own lenses through which this information passes.
Did you hear what they just said? Even when you looking, let's turn this to business. When you looking at business and you trying to learn business, you got to understand the lenses of your mind of what is going through. When it comes to your lens, you got to understand how that lens is going to process that information. If you don't understand the knowledge of the lens, you're not learning what the white kid next door is learning. You're not learning what the Asian kids next to you is learning. You're not learning what any other kid is of different classes learning. You're not learning the same thing. If you sit in class with me and I'm watching the same professor, you could write down every word, repeat every word exactly, have perfect memory, record that shit, have that shit on call on a drop of a dime, and you still don't get what I get because you have a different lens. So you're walking around society right now and you're trying everything white people try and you don't get the same results, you don't have the same lens. So you got to know how that lens thing works and how to protect, design, and develop the lens so you can get the proper outcome. Keep going.
These lenses are known by many terms: mental models, mindsets, biases, or analytical assumptions.
Your mindsets, your mental models. Mental models, I think there was a mental model said earlier today. Fake it till you make it. Got to work hard. Got to do twice as much to get half as much. Those are mental models that's been passed down that you didn't never, that because of first principle thinking, because you don't use it, you just keep reusing it and reusing it. So you're moving through society, you're upset, you're frustrated, things don't make no goddamn sense. Mind you, this is going to get deeper and deeper because I'm going to pull all this shit together between these two classes. So a lot of your frustrations, a lot of you guys who are running around not happy, I'm just not that happy. I'm so stressed out. It's not the stress. It's not that you're not happy. Your mental models are fucked up. My business is not working. I work so hard. Your mental models, your mindset, your biases, your analytical assumptions, first principle thinking, analytical assumptions. You see how cold this shit is? Yours, not the outside world, yours. And you continue to get knowledge, and it's not changing those things. It's not changing your mindset. It's not changing your mental models. It's not changing your analytical assumption. It's not changing your biases, and you have all this knowledge. If anything, you weaponize your limited thinking. I got a brother right now who can never be wrong. He knows he has so much knowledge he can argue himself. That motherfucker is a perfect right person. And his life is so wrong. He got more education than probably all you guys put together in this room as he lives in the hood and struggle between these little punk ass jobs. And he's about 4 years older than me. And you still can't talk to him to this day because knowledge got him fucked up. Now he's a good thinker, but he doesn't pay attention to his thinking. So he's got more biases. He has some good mental models. He has some good mindsets. His knowledge is crazy. His biases are insane. Keep going. Next slide. Wait, no, that's. You didn't get to the new one. If you go to the new, hold on a second. Let me forward this to you. Do I need to forward
I just forwarded it to him.
You forwarded to him? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, could you open that, please? Because I need to keep rolling because I'm in a row. I don't want to be disturbed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to go? Okay.
Okay, hold on, so let me get to it. My damn self. I was flowing. I'm looking at the wall on screen, and it come up the next one. Go.
A generation ago should be the.
Okay. Yeah, a generation ago. Yeah.
So a generation ago, few intelligence analysts were self-conscious and introspective.
I think you have to get that up. You gotta get that up. You don't get that. You need me to send it to you again?
Give me a second, I'm just log back in my email real quick.
Give me 1 second. He has to get to, because if you don't have this up, it ain't gonna make that much sense. This is too complex. I can see Shaquille looking at me like, what you doing, Nana? I'm getting that feedback. You see how she about to have a heat stroke. Yeah. Got it up? Okay. You need a PDF?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Are you able to see this online as well? They can see the slides. Okay. Okay. No,
Yep.
iteration, yeah. Let's blow that up for me, please.
It should be on slide 23.
Yes, that's where generation go.
Yep.
Go to the top left.
There we go.
One of those little extras should be full. Okay,
There we go.
there you go. Okay. It should be, if you go to the top, there's windows, go to the top. Go to the top left, like go all the way to the tip top. No, tip top left, just to the top left. Just move the mouse to the top left. Nothing comes down. No file, new. View. Full page. Okay, just hit the square at the top right. Square top right first. Okay. And then while you figure out how to move that, just take away that highlight off intelligence. Just click on them. There you go. And then you move your mouse out the way. Okay. Amen. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep rolling. Y'all ready to go?
Cool.
All right, let's go.
We said amen. Tamara, she was nice to you on that one. I was waiting on her.
Okay, let's go.
A generation ago, few intelligence analysts were self-conscious and introspective about the process by which they did analysis. The accepted wisdom was the common sense theory of knowledge.
So here, quick. You remember Einstein said that common sense is all the ignorant shit you learned before you were 18? Right? That's a saying of that's John of damn it, my brain just had a fart. I just had a blow. Einstein, right? This is where we're going with this. So a lot of people will come around and go, it's just common sense. I'm in business. I'm just trying. Let me put it in our language. I'm just trying to figure things out. I don't take no classes. I'm just trying to figure this out. I run my own business. I'm just trying to figure this out. Right? I'm just learning this one day at a time. Just trying to figure this out. You get where I'm going with this? A lot of people be like, just open your eyes, just see what you see. Come on, it's right there. Like, makes sense. Like it's almost like the barbershop level talk. Like, it is what it is. I mean, look, it's right in front of you. You can't see. It's obvious what it is, right? Keep going.
That to perceive events accurately, it was necessary to only to open one's eyes.
So if you just open your eyes and pay attention to what you see, based upon your knowledge, you should be able to figure this out. Everybody's heard that before, right? Keep going.
Look at the facts and purge oneself of all preconceptions and prejudices in order to make an objective judgment.
So they're telling you, like, just look at the facts. Purge oneself of preconceptions and all your prejudices. That should have nothing to do with it whatsoever. And after you do that, you should be able to make objective. You should be able to make great decisions. This is very common in black businesses. I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, I ain't gonna ask nobody. I ain't reading no book. I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm gonna start this new policy. I'm just gonna figure this shit out. Next slide.
Today, there is greatly increased understanding that intelligence analysts do not approach their tasks with empty minds.
So when you start on something, you automatically have biases. You already have assumptions. You already have distortions. You already have all these preconceived ideas that are not. Okay. Court's entrepreneur. Shakita's entrepreneur now. Court and Shakita can sit with me and can watch the person and go, oh yeah, they're not an entrepreneur. Because they're not in that rhythm. It's the way you think. It's things we see that other people don't see. It's things that we can hear that other people never hear. There's patterns we notice that most people would never notice those patterns, right? So when you get into this game as an entrepreneur, at every level that you're trying to grow into, you must assume, You just don't see that stuff. You don't know that stuff. So when you think, oh, I'm just going to figure it out to grow, and you don't seek information or build tools to help you navigate this space of uncertainty, because you just assume you're banking your success on your ability to figure things out. You can't, because you're clogged up with old shit. Thoughts, ideas, perceptions, and some of that shit is emotionally charged. Some of that shit is going to hurt to change. It's going to feel like somebody's violating you. That kind of, that kind of social justice anger when somebody feel like they've been violated. How dare him call me an N-word? It's going to feel like that when somebody changes that part of you. It's going to feel that same type of rejection from you. Keep going.
They start with a set of assumptions about how events normally transpire in the area for which they are responsible. Although this changed view is becoming conventional wisdom, the intelligence community has only begun to scratch the surface of its implications.
So what they're realizing as an organization, a lot of bad decisions are made in the space of assumptions. Assumptions. Now you're starting to see how dope first principle thinking is? How it's going to help you tap into that space where slavery and Jim Crowism mindset exists. It's all in the space of assumptions. Write this down. This is code. You remember when Court talked about perception? There's an elephant in the room, right? Let me pull this up real quick. And he said, you had these 5 blind men around this elephant, and they all had a different story of what they were witnessing, even though they were all witnessing the same thing. Where the hell my damn shoe go? 1 second. Hold on 1 second. So, and he was talking about how one person grabbed the ear and said elephant is just the ear because they're blind. Another person said, and somebody grabbed the tail, said no, elephant's a tail. Somebody touched the body, said no, elephant's a body. Somebody touched the leg, said no, this is what the elephant is, a leg. But they were all speaking towards the same perception. Let me add something to that to turn it nuclear. I'm gonna add a little hydrogen to that oxygen. Write this part down. We perceive what we expect to perceive. We perceive what we expect to perceive. If you expect it, that's what you're going to perceive. These niggas out here, and you wonder why you can't work with black people? You expect them to be niggas, and they will be niggas. White people gonna let that happen, and it won't happen because you expect it. I will never be happy. You won't because you expect it. I'm gonna be broke my whole life, and you will because you expect it. You perceive what you expect to perceive. You're highly intelligent, but your limitations are aligned to your perception. Perception is not, although there's multiple angles, you only see what you can see. This is why thinking is important. If you don't understand thinking, a lot of people run around and tell you, oh, this is what life is. This is how life works. This is what's going on. This is our options. So now you expect it. That's what you're going to receive. Time and time and time again. I've never been good with math. You perceive what you expect to perceive. Go ahead, Kajal. Somebody give her a microphone. Jasadi, would you stop? Man,
I'm typing down perceive. You expect
Okay. I thought you, hey man, look, I thought you had the itis over there. I thought you just sitting there with the itis like, oh shit.
Some tight ass shorts you got on. That's why.
Man, Paul,
you the one with the tight shorts.
What's my shorts? Hey,
I didn't decide to. You decided to wear that today.
You like that?
No. How you gonna ask me what I like?
Get on the microphone, bro. Talking about tight shorts. Go ahead. Let's cat my shorts. Ain't he something?
Okay, thanks.
I never looked at his pants a day in my life. But go ahead.
So this is very helpful for me. I can make a lot of correlations in those first 3 slides you did specifically. And I think the difference has been when I come here on Wednesday night, like there's intentionality behind that. Like I'm coming to learn, so I'm a little more open. In real-time conversation, it's like a problem shortening the gap. It may be days after I've flashed that I'm like, oh, this is what they were doing, right? Or like on Wednesday night, I'm like, oh, I jumped to that conclusion. So how do you recommend closing the real-time gap in doing this versus what is very natural, which is the opposite?
So what is proven this kind of change cannot happen by just sitting here listening. You have to deputize yourself to leave here today and start practicing this shit. If you don't practice these next few classes I'm going to be teaching, it'd just be something you can talk about at a party. But your life will look like, I can't tell how many people I've seen who articulate a beautiful dialogue, but when I look at their life, it looks like they never finished junior high, right? It's because they don't practice it. And so, like, I practiced growing my thinking skills. That is just not a thing to most people. They assume if I got knowledge, my brain just automatically improved its thinking. And no, it doesn't work that way. It has it improved its thinking possibilities, but it hasn't improved its thinking. And so if I go to school and I'm like, yo, I gotta be true to my culture, a lot of times that will stop me from adopting other cultural ways of thinking or seeing the way they think or even asking questions. Like one of the things I do when I'm around people, like for example, being right versus wrong and being judgmental sucks. Why does it suck? Because it becomes a way of protecting your thinking against others. You're doing thinking comparisons as opposed to, hey, why'd you do it that way? Oh, I never thought about it that way. Thinking also comes from the people you're around. A lot of your thinking skills is invisible, like the same way your child learns from you in an invisible way. I mean that your child's picking up a lot of your ways from just watching rhythms and timing and how you respond to things, right? If you take this class about thinking, because hope has been, that's the difference between hope and maybe a regular business class. A normal business class is loading you with a lot of knowledge, but quite often you'll find a lot of business students like, damn, this shit sucks. In the real world, it's important that you master thinking because this shit changes too fast. There's no such thing as a combination of knowledge that's always gonna work, right? It's like if you ever seen any type of like, imagine a video game where the developers upgrading is just as fast and fixing bugs just as fast as you come up with tricks. So every time a person teaches you about all the tricks that worked before, the developers already changed all the codes. And then you wonder why it doesn't work for you because the codes are gone now, right? So if you don't get into the art of developing thinking, which is the people I'm around, the exercise I'm engaging, the introspections, the self-reflections, the first principle thinking, we're gonna get to later on, second order thinking, really taking time and even having conversations that stimulate thinking. In order to have a conversation that stimulate thinking, it has to be non-defensive. A defensive dialogue is not a thinking dialogue. A defensive dialogue is a safety dialogue because the person talking to you is trying to figure the safest way to get the fuck up out of here. I promise you, they are not trying to engage in a deep thought. They're trying to get, how can I satisfy this conversation and get the fuck up out of this room, right? If you ever sit amongst two people who are thinking, they could take one subject and the shit can last 3 days. And you might say, that's a lot. No. They're challenging their assumptions. They're exploring ideas. They may even stop to pause the conversation, go back and do research, and then restart the conversation where they left off. Because they figured out all the flaws and gaps. And as they conversating, when me and my business partner argue, we don't argue to prove who's right, who's wrong. We argue to discover. We argue from a space of curiosity. So you may see the end and you're like, nah, bro, it's like this. And you're like, this. But we'll leave this open space because I need you to fill that space if there's assumption. I will start to find my assumptions and I leave those open to be alter adjusted. And the facts, if I feel I have a fact, then I have to bring ownership of that fact to the conversation. But we're really in this discovery space and I'm not even upset or mad or angry or frustrated or trying to hold my position or here's my boundary or you're gonna hurt my manhood or you're not gonna respect my power and all that punk ass shit. I don't do none of that. What I do is say, this argument's gonna help me grow. Oh my God, this is great. Let's do it.
I don't flex. I don't roar in my arguments. Only time I roar is when I have to deal with somebody who's elementary in their thinking. And I have to roar to be like, back the fuck up. You must have forgot. That happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Somebody who came at me wrong. So, oh, you got me fucked up. And when I say you got me fucked, I didn't cuss him out. I was just like, yo, I went on my own business, started asking some questions about the business. And when I finished asking questions, I say, you don't know none of the answers, do you? Don't ever fucking call me with this bullshit again. I hung the phone up. Oh, I'm not any soldier. I'm not gonna call you out no name. That doesn't interest me. I don't want to hurt you. But I want to remind you that before you try to call me and do all that excessive flexing that has no value in my world, everybody's humble. All these, okay, I'm surrounded by some of the strongest alpha males that I so respect. I so value. These cats, you caught them maybe 5 years ago and disrespected them, you might not be here. I'm not exaggerating, right? Some of these cats, they're men's men, right? They ain't none of that. Their pronoun is fuck yeah, I'm a man, right? And they're all fucking humble. They all will sit down and be like, yo, here's my challenge. What do you think? Be 100 with it. I can say, yo, that's a stupid ass idea. And say, why is it a stupid ass idea? They would be like, what the fuck you mean stupid ass idea? You wasn't there when I had to develop this motherfucking idea. I paid for this motherfucker. Fuck you. That's how in order for us to work, because we realize we're in a land of the unknown. We're not in a land of we control this and everything's under our domain. We realize we are actually in the land of the unknown. And we need each other to get to this fucking land. And it goes both ways. It's a reciprocal thing. There's no this big me, little you, and that's all that shit people be coming up with. So you have to practice this shit. And the first thing that's gonna get in the way is your fucking feelings. So every time I'm telling y'all, fuck your feelings, I'm trying to tear down that fucking gate that's stopping you from having real dialogue that can help you grow in the person you want to be. I'm not being an asshole. If you really had some feelings like something really happened to you, I fucking care. When Danielle got in a car accident, it shocked the fuck out of me. Ran home, called her up. Hey, what do you need? What the fuck do you need? So there's feelings there. I'm not a person without feelings. It's just that now it's time to talk about your business. I gotta hear all your fucking feelings. What the fuck is this? You ain't even made a profit. How the fuck you got feelings? No money in the bank. I got feelings. I'm broken feelings. That's just too much. Shit. Okay, let's roll. Did we finish this one?
No.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, next slide. Okay.
If analysts' understanding of events is greatly influenced by the mindset or mental model through which they perceive those events.
So read that slower, because these are something I want them to really hear what you said. Stay with me, folks. If analysts' understanding of event is greatly influenced by the mindset or mental models to which they perceive those events. So a lot of your life experiences is influenced by your perception. Your life outcomes are influenced by your perception. Things that happen in your life, your relationships are influenced by your perceptions. Your weight gain, your body, your mental illness is influenced by your perception. I'm talking about a lot of your flaws and struggles you're going through is tied to your perception. Y'all with me so far? It's just kind of hard to digest, ain't it? It's like Josiah put on his big boy pants. It's rough, right? All right, let's keep going. Next one. Got it! So I'm gonna stop there, and we're gonna jump another subject. We're gonna close off this subject here because I'm rolling tonight. This is I'm serious about this shit tonight. Okay. But I want y'all to see that the thinking thing. Hold on to this thinking thing, and that you perceive what you expect to perceive. Your life is based upon your perception, and thinking is the area that's actually being under. What's the word I'm looking for? Undersupported.
Underserved.
Underserved. Your thinking is highly underserved. Our community thinking is highly underserved. And when everybody keeps coming to us, and this is what I hate about fucking social justice. Those sons of bitches. I fucking hate social justice. It's the stupidest religion in the fucking world. I'll talk about that next week.
It's a religion. Promise you. Social justice got us thinking the problem is something else. It's this thing over here. It's people who don't like us. It's not lack of acceptance. Okay, ego. Let me talk to your ego. Excuse me. Let me talk to your ego a second. Can I talk to your ego? Just kind of move out the side for a second. Ego. Everybody gonna like your punk ass. You ain't that motherfucking hot. And if you are that motherfucking hot, you're not that motherfucking hot to everybody. Your ego, for you to walk around looking for people to accept you, something's fucking wrong. Black people, we've been fighting our whole life for access. But in that access, we knew the cream rises to the top. You understand me? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to define greatness by merit. Meaning that we understand that the best will rise to the top and the best becomes the leader of our culture that allows us to have a healthier culture. No guarantees, but just a healthier culture. We're not looking for everybody to like us. Has anybody ever went shopping in Chinatown before? Some of them people don't like you, do they? You know what the fuck I'm talking about, black people. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Don't play that shit. They don't talk to you, don't acknowledge you. Get the fuck out. What do you want? Keep it moving. And then Billy the white dog guy walks in there and he's like, "Hi, Billy. You want eggs? You want fish over here? What do you need, Billy? What do you want? What do you want, Nana?" That's real shit, right?
What is
And guess what? Hey, just but stay with me. And I still will buy my products and get the fuck about it. I don't care. I don't need them to like me like that. That's not what I signed up in this world for. I don't walk around going, everybody should love Nana. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's too fucking fragile, ego. The ego got you fucked up. Ego, calm the fuck down. Everybody don't like you. It's never gonna like you. Some of y'all I don't like it either. This is what it is. All right? So, social justice got us thinking it's either these objects, these external things, when our thinking is being underserved. All that money came in, how much of that money went towards our thinking? Thank you, Shakita. She's a mathematician and she went to Oxford or some shit. Or maybe it was, I don't know. Oxford, East Oakland, I don't know. Some shit like that, but it's deep. Point is this. She will give her the number again, Shakina. That's a smart motherfucker right there. She knows zeros. You get where I'm going with this, people? Oh, maybe because a white man got this hidden mothership that waits for us to leave our house. As soon as we spend some money, he overtaxes our shit and he comes in, he undermines everything we do. No, people. That's an assumption. Have you seen that mothership before? Well, historically, remember we talked about historical trends versus historical laws. It's two different things. So trend-wise, yes, he may have blew up all your towns. Doesn't mean that's a law. Those conditions don't even exist the same. He gonna blow up all your towns? What's his motivation to blow up all your towns? How the fuck you know he doesn't benefit from your wealth? He's looking for every way to expand to stabilize his power. If black people come online, it makes the country trillions of dollars richer. You think we only people eat off those trillions of dollars? Come on, black people, wake the fuck up. We're making a lot of assumptions. And those assumptions are baked in these emotional fears, these emotional stories you heard. And here's the fucked up thing about history. When they told you stories, they didn't tell you all the stories. They didn't tell you about Mr. Johnson who shot that white dude in the ass and that white dude never came the fuck back. You don't hear those stories. You don't hear about the black people who were millionaires during slavery. Oh, you don't hear about those stories. They just keep telling you these dreadful stories over and over, flooding yours. This is why I don't watch like these fucking old black films about slavery and because they're trying to flood my assumptions and my thinking. So then you set my limitations because you set my perception. You're changing my expectation. I expect to fail. I will fail. Go ahead, Shakita, because I'm about to fire off for this next one.
Just wanted to share this super quick experience. So I went and got my hair done at this African shop yesterday. And I have two braiders I usually go to. And I'm like, all right, let me check these sisters out. Hella dope. Did my whole ass hair in 4 hours. the whole time I was there, I was tortured because they had these African shows on. Like, there was all African women, and they were African shows, but they were speaking English. The mindset on these shows was so fucked up. There was literally a show of a woman just like beating the shit out of a kid for no reason and accidentally killed her. It was parents sacrificing their children just for financial wealth and stuff. And I was like, y'all watch this every day? It made me so anxious. I had to put on my AirPods and watch a podcast because I was like, I can't consume this for 4 fucking hours. Like, every time I look up at the screen, somebody's getting killed, somebody's getting murdered, somebody's getting beat, and it was like, that was what they watched on repeat. And that was the way that they thought, how they filtered through things and everything. And I'm just like, it's so important to just watch your freaking environment.
I'm so glad you said that. So imagine me being a person who's performing at a certain level where I'm performing at a certain level where I'm dealing with people, a lot of resources, a lot of intelligent people, a lot of well-educated people, and I listen to hip-hop music. It sounds the same to me. It's so bad to me. It's so fucking bad. Like I was riding my bike today and I saw a brother walking towards me. He had this look on his face like a, I know what that look is. I mean, he has not grown anything up in here. And he's brought to the idea that that's his character. That cat could be a fucking scientist, but he expected himself to, he figured this is who I am, and he's become who he expected to be. Like, we're selling expectations, people. We're selling thinking, people. And we call it culture. Now you understand when you disrupted how offensive it is to so many people? Who the fuck are you to change our culture, Nana? This is what my grandmother, my grandfather, this is what we've been doing all these years. Okay, that's cool, but how many of them ran a nation? How many of them controlled your utility systems? How many controlled your food systems, your banking system, your housing system, your clothing systems, your educational systems, your healthcare? And you just still hold on to those ideas, huh? But you want to do those things, but you also want to fall in love with their thinking patterns. You see what's going to happen? If you start to embrace different thinking patterns, you know what you're going to need? Other thinkers. Because if you don't do it, you'll become isolated. You'll be in a room and you'll be quiet as shit. Everybody's saying shit, you'll be like, I just can't speak. You'll be like Shakina in the hair shop. And if you have other thinkers, it then allows you then to be around them comfortably. So when I go to my family's get together and they talking that shit and the N-words flying all around the room, and I know, once again, if you expect people to be niggas, then that's what you'll get from them, right? That's why you can't work with black people. That's why when I start my business, I don't want to just be black only. 42 million people, you don't want to fuck with their money? Oh, okay. Middle Easterners are saying, okay, you can do that shit if you want. I'll get it. Right? And so the reality is that it comes down to when I'm around them, because I have a balance of thinkers in my life, all of a sudden when I'm around them, I can just enjoy them. But that's all I had? I had no outlet from them? Like, I'd be around my family for about 4 hours, 5 hours, I'm good. 3 days, I'm in the forest. I'm straight walking, I'm talking to myself and shit. I'm over there talking about, hey, Court, send me some sage, man. Send me some sage. I need that shit today. I need what the fuck I can get. I need some breaks. And if y'all knew my family, they with the shit. So it's like, whoo, whoo. My grandfather died. I was like, this is like going to a prison event. Anyway, okay, let's get down.
I felt so seen.
Shit.
It brought tears to my eyes.
Necessity and sufficiency. This is going now. This right here. We're going to go fast. It's going to be the end of class. But this shit right here, you know, that really is an East Oakland way of saying it, ain't it? This shit right here. We say here. We really say here, huh? That's crazy. Anyway, this here is going to, now it's got to be, I'm hearing myself too much. This is another area of thought. This is thought, people. This is not, if I give you a whole bunch of methods, and the game keeps changing, like I said, I gave you nothing. You'll be impressed, though. You'll pay me money for it. Oh, I just spent $6,000 to get a whole bunch of processes from Nana, and I feel I'm feeling empowered to only realize they changed the code. Next slide.
Assume you wanted to make it into the Fortune 500. Capital is necessary, but not sufficient.
Uh-oh. Slow down. This is about to get good. Go.
Hard work is necessary, but not sufficient.
Did they just say hard work is necessary but not sufficient? These goddamn liars. Keep going.
Intelligence is necessary, but not sufficient.
Wait a minute. Did you just say intelligence is necessary but not sufficient? Hold on. Can you put all three of those together real quick? Because hard work,
intelligence
is not in capital. We miss capital. So money, hard work, intelligence is not sufficient? What kind of witchcraft are you preaching here, Shabisha?
You sound like Nzinga.
Go for it. Let's go for this.
Billionaire success takes all of these things and more.
Uh-oh. Plus a lot of what?
Plus a lot of luck.
Plus a lot of what?
Luck.
That means if you copy my 6 steps, my 10 steps, my methodology of how I became successful, are you telling me that it's not enough? If I sit this class and give you every step you should take in your business tomorrow, it's not enough? You need what else you need?
A lot of luck.
Shit. Let's keep going.
That's a big reason that there's no recipe.
Okay, hold on a second. Tavita didn't hear you because Tavita, she got some new sunglasses. She left them at home and she sees better when she got her Gucci glasses on. Can you run it back at her one more time? That last part.
That's a big reason that there's no recipe.
Kaja went out there and she was performing her ass off. I think Kaja knows this already, but just say it in the language, because Kaja speaks multiple languages because she's traveled all over the United States, so she's multilingual, English lingual. Could you give it to her again?
That's a big reason that there's no recipe.
Somebody said to me in class, Donna, when you going to start teaching us steps? Step 1, step 2. It seems like this class is about, remember Court said, somebody told him, this class feels like it's just a church of just morals and values. And you call it business church, exactly. They don't realize that this, okay, nobody look at Shamar, because Shamar will go, she's going to take it somewhere else. Point is this. There's no recipe for this game, people. Next slide.
Winning a military battle is a great example of necessity and sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
It is necessary to prepare for the battle by evaluating the strength and tactics of your enemy.
So let's talk Shabisha's language. It is critical to evaluate your competition and the tactics of your competition. Keep going.
And by developing your own plan.
And now developing, what is your business plan? How are you going to move forward in this game? Keep going.
You need to address logistics, such as supplies.
Just logistics. Fuck it. Keep going.
And have a comprehensive strategy that allows flexibility to respond to the unexpected.
So you have to have optionality. You got to be able to navigate, have multiple options. If this goes wrong, redundancy, modularity, optionality. You need to have those things in place. Keep going.
These things, however, are not enough to win the battle.
God damn it, I did all that shit. Court, I'm over here busting my ass. I done worked on my motherfucking strategy and shit. I done worked on supply, logistics and shit. I got optionality up in this mother. You understand me? I got all kind of strengths and tactics and, what I'm saying? I evaluated my enemy.
I worked so hard.
Oh my God. And you mean it's not enough? It's not enough? What kind of racism is this?
Mm.
Keep going, Shabisha.
Without them, you definitely won't be successful.
So you still need them. You don't get to neglect this. It is not an either or, it's an and. Keep going.
But on their own, they are not sufficient for success.
So you know how y'all read these, I done told you 1,000 times, stop going to a lot of these trash ass people who are going to teach you about business because they're going to tell you, just do this, and this is what I did, and the 7 steps, there's 8 steps of what I did. I said, that's not business class. That satisfies your human nature because you think, if somebody gives me all the steps, you're looking for recipes in a business game. The problem is all the targets are moving. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Keep rolling, Shabisha. Next slide.
In mathematics, they call these sets. The set of conditions necessary to become successful is a part of the set that is sufficient to become successful.
Say it again one more time. The set of conditions necessary to become successful
is a part of the set that is sufficient to become successful.
is only part of the set to become successful. But go ahead. But the sufficient?
But the sufficient set itself is far larger than the necessary set.
Is far larger. Let me speak East Oakland language. The shit you do every day is bigger than that shit, even though you need to do that shit. That shit's important. Every business brags about doing that shit, but that shit ain't enough. Matter of fact, this business shit is way bigger than the X's and O's, people. It's a lot more shit. And if you keep copying everybody's X's and O's, even if you're doing exactly like the next man, but previous man did it, you still achieve nothing. So when you call somebody, go give me your X's and O's, the reason we will often say to you, well, it depends. That's our response a lot of times, because you have different variables that changes your equation, and there's also hidden, like for example, if Tavita sat down with me and said, let me talk to you about my business, I'm going to ask her a lot of questions besides X and O's. Because how she makes a decision, what is her decision points for her? What is her psychology going into this process? How does she interrupt the process, or how does she enhance the process? I didn't know a lot of questions. Not just, did you do this? What does the number say? Would you do this? This ain't McDonald's, people. This ain't fast food. Keep going.
But the sufficient set itself is far larger than the necessary set. Without that distinction, it's too easy for us to be misled by the wrong stories.
That's the key right there. I can't begin. We had somebody in this class who went to a guru, misled the fuck out of him. Because the guru hit him with some sets. Do this. I know this one guy. You know what Steve Jobs did? How he became successful? He did this. I heard about this people. They did this. You're like, oh my God, you know all this? Then they draw some nice connections between them, use some fancy words. You're like, oh my God, because I don't know how to think, but this knowledge is great. I can use these tools in my garage. And you go out and start to do the same thing, and you spend money on it. Yeah, no, I just spent $5,000 on my logo, another $3,000 on this, $25,000 on this, and I'm hearing all these numbers. By the time we're about $40,000 now. Oh, that's wow. Okay, that's great. Yeah. How much money did you make? Well, no, I'm still working on something. You know, Nana didn't make his first logo until he made $7,000. I had to make sure my shit was working. If the shit wasn't working, we got a new idea. It was next idea. I had no idea loyalty. Some of y'all get so loyal to the idea, you don't put all this money, ain't made a penny back. Because you think I could just follow these steps. You read books looking for steps. Even dealing with taxes in your accounting is not just clean steps. Otherwise, you just need AI and be done with it. I would love to be like, AI, I made this much money, run it through the system, government, here's your taxes. I wish it was that fucking simple. So many variations. Once again, this is a flow, people. This is navigating the unknown. This is like riding on the ocean. You don't just get on the ocean and go, okay, I'm going to just sail from here to Africa and not have somebody navigating the ship. But just push a button, go that way. It's going to get there. You'll find yourself in motherfucking South America. He talking about, I discovered. That ain't where the fuck he was going. Anyway, next slide. Oh, well, that was. Did I do it? I went through hella slides. Man, I was slapping slides left and right. Slides, slapping slides. You understand me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she tried to stick a little pause in on me. Okay. In my conclusion, that's another heavy message for you. Stop looking for, if you do what somebody else does, you're going to be successful. Even when you go to your mentors and you go to people that's going to advise you, stop asking them for just steps. Ask them about their approach, why they did it that way. How come they did it this way as opposed to that way?
How did you process the thought? Look for the process. Look for the methodology. Those things have a tendency to be consistent. Exactly what they did is relative to the challenge that they had in front of them. So the copy and paste. So that's why even when you go to these seminars, and it's a seminar about this is what. Okay, so when Shakina went to this seminar for Black women entrepreneurs, I knew it was gonna be trash. Did I tell you before you left, right? I was like, I'm being nice, and I don't know how to be nice, but I'm going to be nice. It's trash. But I want to hear your thoughts, and did you see any value in it? And I'm sure they came out with a lot of processes and steps, and do this, and do this, and the other thing you hear from people, what you should do, and if I was you, this is what you should do, right? Those events are trash. If you can't teach me how to think, you taught me nothing. You can't teach me how, chess is often, this is distortion that chess is knowing 3 to 4 moves down. There's no such fucking thing. That's not true. A chess player looks only maybe two steps in front of them, but they're aware of all their possible options. And they're changing options relative to how you're moving against the person you're playing against. You don't be like, okay, I'm gonna do the 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12, 13, No. You're literally calculating like, okay, they just made this move, so what are all my possible options or the possible chances? And then this is what a chess player says. I know what I want to do. So now what else do I want to do? Because the first idea sometimes is the worst idea. That's thinking skills. Many of us think of chess players as, go back a couple slides, Dre. Keep going to the header. Necessity. There you go. We think it's necessity and sufficiency. As long as I do this, I'm sufficient. To do what's never necessary. To 1, 2, 3. Learn this move. If he does this, I'm gonna do this move. He does this move. To do this move. He does. That's not how life works. In business, it doesn't work that way either. Your competition is changing at a crazy ass rate. The macro system is changing at a crazy ass rate. Some things in systemic macro systems, you don't even know it's changing. You may not even notice this happening until it's happened. So the move in the world trying to anticipate 2 or 3 moves is the wasted way of thinking. This is why often in business, I hate this idea. I told Mashama said something to one of our clients. Sometimes we work on a 10-year plan. I look at Mashama like, Mashama, stop saying that stupid shit. Most entrepreneurs can't even think past 2 years. You know why? Because in 2 years, shit happens. A lot of shit. Like, you think you're going to be here 100 years? What business is... Do you know now the lifespan of a business is about 10 years? 100? Where the fuck you get that ego from? Do you realize that somebody's been in business for 5 or 6 years and sells it for millions of dollars, they won? As opposed to rising the business to the top and then going down with the ship and going, well, at least I hung next to it. If you don't let that swing low, sweet chariot story go... Right? So the reality is that, like, when you're in this business game, you're not in the self-approval game. That's what you guys are playing the wrong game. You're not playing business games. You're playing self-approval games. You're doing things to look for acceptance and approval. You're not playing. Business game is you're in to win this game. You got to calculate when to jump off the ship at some point. It's like, imagine you have a house. And the economy's going crazy, and the price is going up and up and up. And at one point, your house gets up to $5 million. And you're like, oh man, but I love this house. And the economy does a downturn. And that shit shoots all the way down to because it was a bubble. It shoots down to 2 million, 1 million. You just lost $4 million because your ass was over there loving on a piece of property, as if you can't build another love. What Jay-Z said, I built 1 or 2 or whatever, I can build another one? I forgot the terms. I like Jay-Z, I just don't remember his words. That's horrible. Actually, Jay-Z is one of my favorite rappers now because he's kind of matured into a more of a business mindset. So his rhymes kind of it speaks the language I like to hear in his songs. But my point, going back to my point, is that this business game, the green lumber effect thing is so real. Remember the green lumber effect, which is the guy was selling this thing called green lumber, which is a lumber when it's in early stages. He's making a killing off this lumber. And they start to ask him questions about lumber. He's like, I don't know anything about green lumber. Multi-millionaire. But he knew business. He knew the industry he was in. He understood raw material business, and he was in there to do business. Stop being a trainer. Run a training business. Stop being someone who stretches somebody. Run a health business. Stop focusing on the actual detail of the business. The detail of the business is your entry point, right? But I think it was Court. Don't get high off your own supply. Mm-hmm. Don't get to the point that you fall in love with the shit. Your entry, your starting point. This is where I started, and I will always be here. Bullshit. 510 Media. Mashama tells this story. Makes it sound so tacky. I remember I was 35 when I first started 510 Media. It was pretty models, naked models, and flyers. I don't know how the naked models kept having it. Somehow I kind of inspired people to come to my. You know what?
Know how it happened.
Well, look here. I need the motivation. Anyway, point is this, right? But in the beginning stages, it was a hustle. And then it turned into like design and photography. Then it became design, photography, and marketing. Then design, photography, marketing, and branding. And by the way, the pretty girls disappeared because I had a rule: don't ever touch a model. So for I think 10, 11 years, never touched a model. Didn't touch them. Oh, I've had some situations where I'm running around my street late at night. I'm like, no, pay me my money. Pay me my money. Quit playing. Pay me my money.
I mean, you know the rules of the game.
I had that lot. It was some rough nights. You understand me? But I stuck to my rules. Why? Because no, don't do it. But I stuck to my rules, and the reason I stuck to my rules is because here's something that's bigger than this. Is something that you guys need to know. I wasn't running my business to be rich and be happy. I was running my business to show for black folks the whole time. One, I wanted to show black folks what we could do. Two, I wanted to gain enough momentum where I can turn around and help my own people. But first, I have to learn to put the mask on my own self. So that allowed me to anchor myself in these rules and standards and boundaries that you would say, well, how the fuck do you even have that? Because I was serving something bigger than myself. If it was about Nana, I would have got past the third model. But Nana was so serious about where he wanted to go. It's like, fuck this shit. And then, mind you, I'm reading an hour a day. I'm like, my boy taught me this little lesson a long time ago. I'm sticking with it. Me and Mashama having like philosophical discussions that we still have to this day, every day. We're reading books that none of our peers are reading. We're going in spaces, challenging our information, falling, breaking shit everywhere. I'm talking about breaking shit. All of a sudden, we start doing branding. That's more psychological. Then we get into move towards behavior science branding because we hire somebody in behavior science. And when I hired that person, I was like, no, you're not gonna smoke me. I'm feeling inferior to your knowledge. I'm learning everything you learn. So I went to 1, 2, 3 hours a day studying. And studying, I was testing and practicing and testing to the point I went from pop science, so I was reading the trash at first, all that pop junk books, to the kind of books that was giving me fucking headaches. I'm taking Excedrin while I'm reading. I got a dictionary next to me, and I'm Googling shit, and even Google not working because the definition don't even make sense. To the point that those books became fun and easy for me. Then I went and test the waters, and I'm listening to debates between scholars and people in the industries and leaders in the industries, and I'm starting to see these through lines of pattern, and I'm starting to see these positions. I'm starting to see the way that the flaws in thinking. That's when I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Once you're able to see thinking, the knowledge no longer blinds you. When you meet people and you don't know anything about thinking, it's like Cornel West. Cornel West, if you don't understand thinking, he will literally blind you with his knowledge. His knowledge is crazy. But once you see thinking, you start to see how a lot of people are masking their assumptions. They're masking their lack of knowledge with just knowledge. And once you get that game, then I came back to the table and I sit with psychologists all the time. I've been debating with psychologists for the last 6 years. And I'm often like, no, that's not true. No, that's not. And they look at me like, what fucking university you come from? Because once I started learning how to think, and then I was consuming knowledge and learning how to think and learning knowledge and thinking and combining those two, you move differently. It's almost like if you put me in a room with somebody and I have to fight, I have to work within my circle of competence, remember that phrase, circle of competence? I'm not uncomfortable. I'm very comfortable. And I'm looking for the person that can knock me off my position because that's the teacher of the room for me. I don't look at that person as a threat. I'm looking at like, oh, you got something I don't have. Oh, let me hear this. There's some work I need to do to go back and work on my stuff. I'm so humble with my knowledge that my knowledge is being upgraded daily. So even if you find out a flaw in my knowledge today, next year it probably won't even be here. Because I'm constantly upgrading my knowledge because I'm not bold or egotistical about what I know. I teach this class, so it kind of creates that perception from this dynamic. But if you hang around me, if you were to actually just sit in my head and listen to my thoughts, you'd be like, this cat is constantly questioning everything. He's willing to challenge. He's willing to read books that he's like, I don't know if I agree with this shit, but let me just read their point, go through this whole book and see where they're coming from. I get those reps in. I was telling, damn, your name just went dead to me. Huh? Sarai. Your name is, and I got so many Sarayas in my life, it's ridiculous. So for me, her name go dead to me. We have a Saraya that comes by the house every day, plays my daughter. So I was telling Saraya just earlier, she's like, why should I go to college? And here's my answer. Get your reps in and learn how to learn. College is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of the journey. That's the problem with college. That's a hell of a beginning. And while you're in college, meet everybody you can. Be exposed to as much people as you can. Ask as many questions. Don't defend your position. Discover other people's positions. And college becomes an amazing experience. But if you go to college and you try to walk in that motherfucker trying to defend your position and being sensitive and emotional and sitting in corners and feeling the world's not fair, you didn't get the experience you deserve. With that said, Kaja, what do they say in West East Oakland when they say goodbye? Because I know you speak multiple language. I need a translation on how to say goodbye right now. Huh? Oh, we out this. Yo, we out this piece. Good night.